Hurrah!
What's up?
Hey, you know how I like talking about the shittiest lyrics ever?
The shittiest lyrics?
Yeah, you know how I like bringing up really, really shitty lyrics?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's this one that always pops into my head, like every couple of years. Because when I was flying to Brazil, it was a free album available on the plane, and I just kept listening to it. And usually it brings me pleasure to shit on crappy lyrics because I love crapping on terrible bands like Train and Imagine Dragons and stuff like that. But sometimes I gotta crap on Weezer a little bit, and it's from their album Hurley. This might be one of the dumbest lyrics I've ever heard. It's from the song Hang On, where he says in the pre-chorus, "Over and over, we swore it was over, but just like wild clover, love grows at light speed."
Yeah.
That's the lyric?
That's the lyric. And when the next pre-chorus is similar. He says, "Over and over, we swore it was over, but just like I'm solar, you warm up to me," which would be one of the worst lyrics I've ever heard if the Clover one wasn't before it.
Yeah, I don't know what those guys started doing.
I always thought like one of my favorite ever lyrics in rock and roll was Pavement's song, AT&T, where the chorus is him just going, whatever, 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 whatever. Like that's the chorus is whatever. Oh, but the best one I was thinking earlier, I don't know why I brought like at work, I was thinking about that Billy Joe Shaver song, I've been to Georgia on a fast train, where the chorus goes, I've got an 8th grade education. I got a good Christian raising and an 8th grade education. I don't need y'all treating me this way. I love that. Like, yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, fuck you. One of my favorites was Brandon Flowers from the Killers' last album, where he tries to do just all what is it? Sort of just middle America, working class men. Yeah, he did a pretty good job with the tone. And he's got this one lyric where he said, "She's had this treadmill now for months. I think she might have used it once. If I shut my mouth and keep the peace, she'll cook my eggs in bacon grease." Like, that captures the Mormon, the plight of the Mormon man just perfectly.
Yeah, that's one's a little too honest there, isn't it?
I know.
That can't be songified.
That's a fucking patriarchy.
I thought he was gay until I heard that.
He's probably gay. He's been married to the same woman and has kids with her for probably like 20 years. But
that is gay.
He's got a kid named Ammon.
Ammon?
Mm-hmm.
All right, dude.
Ammon is how Northern Californians say almond.
Ammon.
The people who grow the almonds, they call them almonds.
That is true. I've heard that.
You want to know a funny okay, so this was funny. Speaking of pronunciation. So I'm still reading that Death of Superman book at work whenever I get time. And you can tell, first off, you can tell it was written in the early 90s because Lex Luthor, when he's like fight training, he's training karate against 3 women. But also it is a little, it's not woke, but it is like so many interracial couples and all of the black people and brown people, they take a moment to just be like, he is such a good and loyal man. It's just so awesome. And one of the funniest ones is John and Martha Kent. They go back to Kansas and their neighbors were watching their farm while they were gone. And the male farmer is a black dude. And you're like, that, happens sometimes, it's not that big of a deal. And he's married to some type of a Latina woman. And I was like, well, whatever. And then she starts talking and, you can read the dialect in the way that the Latina lady from Kansas, I guess, comes up to them and she's like, "We done made supper for yous. If and yous wanting to come in and join us, y'all can eat it." And I was like, I'm trying to picture a Mexican woman talking like that. It's just not quite I'm sure it exists. I'm sure somewhere, but not common.
Yeah.
I met a lady when I was in Brazil who was a Brazilian lady who had served her mission in like Arkansas or something like that. So she spoke English. She spoke Southerner drawl English with a Brazilian accent, and it was the ugliest thing I ever heard in my life. Like I couldn't tell her. This. Oh God, just don't ever speak English.
I think that is always funny hearing people from other countries who learn English,
yonder,
like England English, and they sit there saying words, and like every fifth word sounds like the word from England, but then the rest of it sounds like their normal accent.
Mm-hmm.
That's in Brazil. They have a whole joke about because like you go to English speaking school, and you have to choose a British English school or an American English school. And if you ask them what's the difference, they say, well, in one you say can, and the other you say con, and that's all. That's all they can understand of the difference.
Yeah, I remember one of my first wards. It was like, "Oh, we got an American missionary. You should come talk to brother so and so. He's pretty fluent in English, and so he loves talking to the American elders." Okay, and so I walk down the hall and see the guy. Just this black Brazilian dude walks up to me like, "Oh, there, elder. How you doing there, mate?" I was like, "Oh, fuck, hey." And it took me a second to compute. I was like, "Well, I guess that makes sense. I just really wasn't expecting it." Yeah, I'll learn English in New Zealand. Oh, that's unfortunate, buddy.
Bucket, what do you? Jeez, no, damn it. She's stuck on my cable. Bucket, come on. But how are you this dumb? There you go.
That should be a short. It'll go viral.
Oh yeah. How was your weekend, everybody? I can't say that. That's a
quartering.
That's a quartering thing that just to waste time. He says that, and for some reason he knee jerks to saying it whenever he doesn't have anything to say.
He's not a very smart guy, and he doesn't have very much to say very often.
And so he says it all the time. And how's everybody's weekend? And he doesn't even like look at the comments to see what happens. He just says it. Mm. And it's become such a big meme. Everybody says anything, and he just doesn't stop. He just keeps going with it.
He also actually asking about the 4th of July, but
he was, but he also once you watch so much quartering A-logging, you're like, I can't even hear that phrase anymore.
I've watched so much of it, and it's mind blowing how bad the guy is at what he does, and he's grown that whole huge empire. And I mean, I've always just watched the short videos, which I guess are kind of concise, but they're just reading an article and they're edited down or whatever.
You would be.
I wonder if what's his name? Twat. Who's the twat? Divas. Like if he watches quartering, he's like, "What am I doing wrong? I'm every bit as shitty as he is."
It's gotta be. But I mean, so many people know that and feel that. But half the world has to understand that. Like if you just got on the internet at the right time, it's kind of like getting in the stock market at the right time, or getting into the forum, or getting into the housing market, boomers at the right time type stuff. It just swelled at that time, and that's where he grew it. And he did hustle, and as far as like algorithm growing, but he was making short form videos when those were making more money. And short form videos is just you read the thing that's happening, make it 10 minutes. But when he has to sit and stream, he is incapable. It is unreal. He cannot talk. He cannot keep a sentence together. He can't think. He does 2 hours every day. Like we struggle to keep going 3 hours once a week at the most. You know.
Well, the problem is he also so his short form videos used to be scripted. Because, if you're just making a short form video, that's it. But he realized what he can do is he just has some stories lined up, kind of like we do. And then during the live stream, if you watch one of his live streams, he'll get past a segment and then he'll start the other one by saying, "What's up, everybody? I'm Jeremy from the Quartering. Today we're going to be talking about the redistricting." So he'll say, "What's up, everybody? I'm the Quartering," like 8 times per stream, so that he can cut that edit it into small videos. And so now all of his short form videos are unedited, and so they just sound like his live stream, and he's just so bad at it.
Oh yeah, and he like listens to other videos and sits there sniffing in the microphone as the video's going on and stuff. And it is mesmerizing, like a true lol cow, that so many people start noticing something. Like the true lol cow, kind of like Divas, like
Hello.
Oh, muted himself. Must have been Huck. Yes, D-Vase is a little cow, though.
Yeah, I saw. Like he's got a video of him going to the Book of Mormon Museum, which I'm like, does that exist? And I looked it up, and it's something they're planning but doesn't exist.
Oh,
So
yeah,
I realized, like, did he create an AI museum?
Yeah, he mostly does AI. But
That is like, because like apparently somebody's doing like an Ark Encounter style Book of Mormon museum. Well, at least
oh man, we should
Which,
get
like,
Ken Ham over
that-
there.
that would be awesome. I'm totally
Yep, Huck yanked my cord too.
Hmm.
What was I saying about
freaking
that?
animals.
Oh, you're talking about the quartering and how much he sucks ass.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly what we were saying. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Something
But-
about ass sucking.
Yeah, suck an ass. Yeah.
One of the other crazy things you'll notice about live streamers is, or about YouTubers in general, is they can seem pretty rational. Once you get them on a live stream for so long, they start to either show how untalented they are or how fucking nuts they are.
Yeah.
Like, even if you get live streams of like Dev, he starts to say really nutty things. Or like the other day, Dev was on a live stream.
Oh,
with his
Dev's gone
wife.
like full wacko.
He has, but this was like a different type of wacko. He's talking to his wife, and I think he's just trying to make a joke. But it's like when you joke too much about something, it gets on the nose and it starts to creep people out. And he's talking about this Chinese girl that he dated years ago, and they broke up, and now she's married and has a kid. And he's like, "I tell you what, I know they have a kid, and I can't wait for that kid to turn 18 so I can fuck the kid and get revenge." And his wife's like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Or if it's a girl, if it's a boy, I'll groom him into being a trans femboy and I'll fuck him and get revenge.
Yeah, they all end up starting saying weird stuff. Oh, I was gonna say that one of the ways that quartering kills time is he does read ads about 95 times a video too. But I mean that takes up 2 hours, which a lot of different people do that sort of thing. But I couldn't understand like being Divas or being him and being the type of person that gets a large amount of attention for some sort of ridiculous behavior and then just not backing off of it in any way, not becoming aware that the entire internet's laughing at a certain thing that you're doing and then just keep doing it just without even a pause there. But
Well, with the quartering, I don't, as much of a twat as he is, I don't think Dives is unintelligent, but the quartering is unintelligent. He's dumb. And so I think he doesn't realize, because he'll look at what other people are doing. You see how many times he mentions Tim Pool. He fucking hates Tim Pool. And he also,
well, he fights with
people make-
everybody now. So.
yeah, well, people, I mean, he hates him because he's jealous of him, because people basically call him a shittier version of Tim Pool, which is, oh man, that would hurt. But then they'll say, all you do is you read articles. And I'm like, yeah, but there's some other people that do that, and they do fun, like Count Dankula pretty much just reads articles and then provides commentary on them, but he's good at it. He's not slow. He provides funny commentary.
Yeah, he has personal anecdotes.
I mean, it's all
Yeah.
Asmongold does, and he somehow pulls an audience.
He's not very good at it, though. I don't.
Yeah, no, that's like,
understand it.
Asmon, like
he keeps it going though. He's doing.
He's not as bad as the quartering for sure.
Yeah.
I don't think he's terrible, but he just doesn't seem good enough to be, number one. But
Asmongold is totally mysterious to me. How he has.
Yeah.
Well, one of the ways that a lot of those guys got big is because they were on Kick or whatever, and they were doing it while they were streaming games, and they were good gamers. And some of the lore of quartering is he tried to do that and was ass at games. Like he could not play the games at all, so people didn't want to watch him. And so people would watch Asmongold because they wanted to see him kind of crush the games he was playing as he was talking, which is how Destiny came up too a little bit.
Oh,
mm-hmm.
that actually makes a little bit of sense.
The game at the same time is a bit of how it's done. But one of the ways quartering screwed himself is he made this big march against Nerdrotic and all those guys saying that nobody cares about woke movies anymore. That doesn't get the algorithm. You need to stop. And he'd always talk to people as if all they cared about was algorithms. Like that's all he cares about,
Oh, yeah.
like they didn't care about the subject. They just cared about algorithms. And he's telling them, but he screwed himself because now he won't talk about stuff like Supergirl, which used to be some of his bread and butter crap, because now he's above it because he preached against it. So
No, he actually did talk about Supergirl. He said he wasn't going to, but
yeah,
and it was his most watched video in a long time, but I don't know, it was like 12,000 views last time I saw it, which for a channel with like 5 million subs, that's not good.
so he says right now there's twice as many people watching as there are talking. That's efficiency. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
We talk shit. We can't pull down quartering numbers, not in a million years. How do we ever learn to be as good as Asmongold or Hassan Piker or Short Fat Otaku or just these geniuses that are killing it all over the internet?
Well, Short Fat Otaku is not.
He used to do
untalented.
good single videos. Yeah,
he's good at his single videos. He's good at writing a script and stuff like that. He was just kind of degenerate.
and he's gone off the deep end as far as saying that they need to revolution against Trump violently. Anyway.
Wow.
All those weirdos. There's so much crap in the world right now. This was 4th of July is my busiest week of the year by far, every single year, and the payroll, and I just got through that. So I've farted through stuff this week, but I've got everything. But I look at all of it and I just go bleh. But there's a ton of subjects, and we can get to.
I like your thumbnail.
Oh yeah, that was great.
Oh yeah, you want to talk about that? I was just piecing two different things together, and I just didn't even. Oh yeah, that's the same word, so I'll put them there together. But yeah, Jacob Hansen. I guess I got that thumbnail in here somewhere.
I just and I listened to a little bit of Ward Radio today.
Might as well start with.
And they were like did the same thing. Like I don't even remember. Was it today? Anyway, just that like.
I thought I had it.
Hardin claiming
I didn't.
that I mean, just going on about how persecuted Mormons are.
Well, they've been all worried about Doug Wilson. Doug Wilson's a big deal. They made a big deal of Doug Wilson this week because somebody wrote an article in the Deseret News or something that Doug Wilson doesn't think Mormons should be voting and stuff like that. And
Yeah,
of course, acting like he has some sort of real power in the world because Hegseth, he's Hegseth, religion guy or something like that. But
so he's unironically like a Christian dominionist.
yeah,
He actually believes that, but he's not the racist kind. He's just the Christian kind.
he's just a Calvinist, and then also kind of believes 100% kind of in a Christian nationalism that once they take over, they will rule. But he has. First off, everybody has to get out of their heads that whenever like all those dissident right people are talking about ruling as kings and kingdoms, they have to understand that it all comes from a type of Yarvanism, and that Yarvanism is like, how Germany only ever became Germany because it was a ton of different kingdoms that got put together by a common language, but it used to be a ton of different little kingdoms.
Yeah,
they always think about going back to the ton of different little kingdoms. So when those people are talking about that, they talk about balkanizing first, not turning the United States into this whole huge thing. So in their mind, they would balkanize, and some little area around Moscow, Idaho, would become their Christian nationalism.
it would be like, so it's just like his thing versus Desnat.
It'd be his thing versus each in their ultimate utopia. It would split. It would balkanize into not just 50 different states. It would balkanize into 1,000 different states, and each little kingdom would be able to say, hey, this kingdom follows Moscow, whatever their Calvinism is.
And then we would have to form a United Nations of the States of America because China would try to march on us and take us over. And essentially we'd have a federal government again.
And that's always been
That's
always been James Lindsay's argument, is that you balkanize like that and you lose all this other power. First off, you give up the Constitution, and none of those guys will ever have different constitutions. But second off, you'll never have the power for the bigger thing that comes over and takes you. You'll never join up well enough for that. But under their belief is that there would be free reign. Like if you don't like the Calvinism kingdom, you can go over to Georgia where they have the what's this?
Baptists.
The Baptist kingdom or the Mormon kingdom down in Utah.
And I'm sure the shittiest, most difficult Christian religions who started losing the most amount of people to the easier Christian religions wouldn't then march on them.
Yeah, hope that would never happen. I mean, it was just straight peace between Whitey since forever, right? Before that, and then So I mean, there's always a utopia. There's always we'll start this guy. We'll be the Brian Johnson religion.
Is that a doctored photo? That one right there.
No, I think it was after some sort of his facial crap that he does. He doesn't
he get
stick like that. He
stung by like 700 bees or something.
He does like treatments that make him look goofy for a while and like takes pictures of it. But then I think in general he still looks goofy. He's always overly white because he like won't go in the sun or anything like that.
Remember when I made that joke when you were first explaining him, where I was like, it's good when that guy dies, I'm gonna be like,
yeah.
I thought I'd feel like a dick when something like this happened, but I don't.
I didn't either. I just went straight Nelson Simpson's.
I know. I mean, I don't want you to die. Like if I could wave my hand and get rid of your disease, I would. But I'm like,
well, we were already predicting that like 6 months ago, except that he'd kill himself by over attacking something that didn't need attack. But it looks like his body's over attacking something itself.
Yeah.
He's got some sort of stomach, autoimmune disorder. I wonder if you can cause that. Like I have sometimes wonder, like, can you cause Crohn's or something like that? RW Sauce has a glossy sheen. Yeah, he always looks glossy and weird and like a mannequin.
That's not swingers. Swingers always have that sheen to them, you know.
Do they?
Yeah, I swear to God.
I think that's just like the no sun sheen.
They always look, yeah, but it's like they oil themselves or something. And
constant oiling and constant. Yeah, that's probably true.
They're not pasty. They're usually
worried about lines on their face, and so they've done crap to deal with it. I kind of like lines on my face as I grow older. I don't know what's wrong with me, but
I don't really care one way or another about them.
I like them. Like I like straight look. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool, you know. But
yeah, it's kind of gruff, I guess, or whatever.
Anyway, yeah, you're right. That sheen, whatever it is probably from that. Anyway, we got way off track there. We're all the way back on Jacob talking about Hellenization. I thought I had the thumbnail, and I don't. Maybe I'll pull it up on the YouTube.
He's got a shine, but it's the Holy Ghost because he's so right about everything.
So he had the whole video about everybody's worshiping a Hellenized God, which they brought up that stuff multiple times before in the past. But Mormons also worship a Hellenized God. Everybody does to some extent, or that's still around. Does any? Well, I guess the Jews don't. The Jews. Oh no! Actually, when I looked up Hellenization, it said the Jews have even been Hellenized, like a whole bunch. So
Troy's making fun of you. He says you went.
I went by the thumbnail twice. That's a fast eye. Wait, can you pick out the trans person? Can you pick them out? Can you pick them out? Yes, I'll give you 5 guesses, $1 million. You won't get it.
Jesus, that's fake, right? I know she's short.
It was always that short.
But she's that short?
Yeah. You know, I've got some video. Like, you haven't seen the video of her walking with her bodyguard?
I don't think so. I've seen some AI of her like as an actual midget.
Look at this of her walking with her bodyguard.
No.
And the way the legs walk, the way the feet walk, you can tell just, you know.
Yeah.
like half the size.
And when she turns around,
that's tragic.
When she turns around, you can't recognize her. And seriously, looks like a 12-year-old boy in an oversized suit.
Yeah, I'm going. Oh, I did. There it is. Yeah, you worship a Hellenized God, and then this meme of Jerry. It's Helen.
We're not on it.
Oh gosh. Here it is. So, I mean, the arguments, it's funny because I saw him and Luke Hansen on Twitter one day. I think it was like Brandon Tatum or somebody was noticing, like, hey, everybody's got this Greek god in their stuff. You'll see somebody pop up, and these guys are like immediate in the comments, like, that's why you need the Mormon church, because we take you back to the original Hebrew. And like, do you remember like when we were talking and Cardin was talking about, we have something in common with the Orthodox and the Catholics because we're all the old religions, whereas all these other guys are the new religions. And I think that concept's funny
So I have watched zero of this. A Hellenized God, is that just referring to the whatever the Hellenic
Greek is just
philosophies?
No, he says, yeah, because he says that that the typical view of God is that he's the prime mover.
It's
And
it's the
The
Aristotle
concept of a prime mover is like Aristotelian.
Mhm.
which you
you
can
know.
point back to Aquinas being the first, like what maybe a little bit before. There's what was that other guy who became emperor who was the Christian? He was kind of into all the Hellenic stuff too. Constantine, but Aquinas like really codified it, and codified Aristotle. Constantine was kind of more Plato, but Plato and Aristotle, not crazy differences, but Aristotle's is just kind of logical, going back to that first mover, whereas Plato has that kind of like pyramid thing of like up at the top, there's the super idealized perfect thing of whatever we're imagining, which is kind of the same thing. But yeah, it's just the Greek concepts of gods, which all were what got mixed into like those different Hermetic and whatever Kabbalah, although Kabbalah was much later. And as we've talked about before, really technically that's the same crap when they're saying Tawhid in the Muslim world or the Sikh world, that a ton of them really are just different variations off of the Greek concepts of gods mixed with Abrahamic myth, mythos.
What I thought was funny is because like just later that very day, I heard Bart Ehrman talking about how the idea of like the Jewish Christian idea that the soul lives on after death that they got from Greeks, from Platonism. It's just like, oh, well, Jacob, what do you think of that? Because Mormons believe that the soul lives on after death. I guess they've been corrupted by Hellenization too.
That's simple. There's small and simple truths that were taken from the original church, and the Catholics fucked it up. But the Greeks, they had some small and simple truths, right? That the soul lives on.
So, like this stuff of Plato, which Plato precedes Aristotle a little bit with his concepts like God, intellect, soul, world, soul, matter, but it's up at the top, and it's always going up to the top of the one thing. So when you hear all these people say it's all one or everything's one thing, we're all moving back to the one, you can say that's where it's kind of like Hellenistic or Greek or kind of doing the Plato thing. Or like we talked about, like Plato had the forms. So the forms are existing somewhere out there in the ether is the perfect form of everything. There's the perfect form of the chair, and all other chairs are bastardized examples trying to be the perfect chair that exists somewhere out in the ether. And of course, that obviously is true of a man or a god. The perfect, idolized, exact being, final one of it is out there. And then they always have these concepts of we're all moving into it or going back to it, which is, you could kind of think of being like, that's the concept of going to heaven for the gods or something like that, is becoming one with that god. But Gnosticism, yes, Gnosticism is all Platonism, which is, this sort of stuff. The one, the nous, the world soul, it's all moving back up to the one. Everything like centers back around the one. And a ton of that stuff started getting mixed in. Strangely enough, a bunch of people claim, it was one of those Catholic channels, I forget, like Let's Do Religion or something like that, who talks about there's a lot of concept that Paul was full on like a Hermetic Gnostic type person. That's what he came from, not Judaism. He came from that and converted to Christianity. Like the Egyptians like did sort of
how did the Greeks feel about butt sex?
It's bad if you do it to a slave, doggy style.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember my McClellan here.
Okay. Well,
and then all else is good and godlike.
Okay. Well, the reason I ask is because I found out somewhat recently through watching a lot of true crime and Chris Hansen shit that on prostitutes on their ads, when they list the things that they're willing to do, they'll be like bareback, Greek, and that means anal. So I was curious. I was like, why is that? I've never heard any like specific tie to the Greeks really liking like butt sex.
But so Aristotle came after Plato, and he was just like a little bit more logical about God. And you can kind of almost think of it as like a William Lane Craig argument, more than anything. It's like there must be an unmoved mover, there must be an originator, there must be, that sort of thing. So it's kind of more just a logical deduction going back to there must be a God there. And then Aquinas mixed all that sort of stuff in with Catholicism and used a bunch of it to try to make the Trinity make sense. Used Aristotelian logic to make that to square that circle.
The Nicene Creed is Aristotelian logic.
Probably for him, they'd probably make some kind of lame argument that it is. I don't know.
It was jumping off of that styling to make that work.
Of saying a lot of things because it feels
like if this then that, if this then that, and then that, and then this, and then,
Hey, but from what I remember, the Nicene Creed, it was like they're all one, but they're different, but they're not different because they're all one and they're different.
But they're different. The one.
Yeah.
But there's so many layers of irony about this because, first off, there's a whole thing where whenever ordinary Christians say that Mormons aren't Christians, these guys all flip their shit and start talking about how they're the Jews of America, it's all hate speech. And then here's Jacob coming out and being like, well, they have the wrong God. Duh. Then also because this is one of those things where it's like, and all Christian apologists, I should say this, have this weird relationship with, history and science and archaeology. And in this case, history of religion and theology, where when the scholarship suits them, they're like, well, yeah, scholars. According to scholars, the early Christianity was deeply Hellenized, according to scholars. And okay, well, how about the whole part where, according to scholars, Judaism as we know it probably was invented around 200 BC, and that it was deeply affected by Zoroastrianism because of the Babylonian exile. And that the scholars talk about how you can see the layers in the Old Testament, there's this whole thing about how the documentary hypothesis with the Torah, there are 4 authors in it with different perspectives, and that at some point a redactor post Babylon went through it all and harmonized it to fit with Zoroastrian concepts. But so in which case, the whole thing isn't even what you say.
Okay, but to try to steelman more what Jacob's argument is that what's Aristotelian about the Nicene Creed is just that form of trying to come up with an explanation in that William Lane Craig way of there's a substance, and the substance of the essence must certainly meet this thing. It's sitting there doing logic, right, to try to make sense of it. Whereas Joseph Smith was, behold a God, and that's going back to the pre whatever of just behold a God instead of landing on it through big logical descriptions.
There's more irony because Jacob engages in that kind of stuff, where he's like, does that fart sniffing thing where he's like, the problem is that most people don't even understand philosophy. It's like, well, okay, should they? Again, if it's the spiritual witness, that's one thing that I was talking in our group is that bothers me about Hansen and William Lane Craig is that they do all this hoity-toity, fart-sniffing, pseudo-intellectual stuff at the same time, depending on the audience, copying to the fact that, none of it matters without a spiritual witness. And in fact, all you need is the spiritual witness.
Oh,
and according to this argument, doing any of that logical deduction is the wrong God. If you're following this argument to its end.
And
right?
so it's I always say he wants his faith and he wants to eat it too. That's how I feel about all these guys. And that's why it's always bugging me. It's just say it's faith. Just say it's faith, and the argument is over. I have no way of proving that you don't have faith.
But in some essence, that's what this is. That's saying Joseph Smith was right because it was behold a God instead of a logical deduction to it is the claim. Because then if you go and listen to RFM and Bill Reel this week when they talk about the whole entire, so their whole episode this week was looking up phrases that came out of the Book of Mormon that were obviously talking just about the theological questions of the time of the 1830s, and they could look up how often those phrases were said, and almost all of them were just heavy duty concepts that were being argued out, like infinite, what is the word, infinite atonement or things like that. There were things that were being discussed around the 1830s, and the Book of Mormon, according to them, came out just to answer the questions of the 1830s, you know, and they're not even really questions anymore. They were just like arguments of the time frame. But you could say if that was being concocted, it was being like a Greek way, or kind of like a method of, I'm going to answer all this stuff, although I will declare it's just coming from a God that's being announced. But this is Jacob using the logic to say all the others are wrong, whereas Joseph just posited the behold a God. It's back to the old thing of just, I saw God and God was there, behold.
Yeah, so I guess the more I hear about this, the less hard I come down on the shitty seminary teacher answer of, well, we don't know. You know, like,
Yeah.
because it reminds me of on the missionaries would love talking about quote unquote deep doctrine, right? And one of the ones they loved, I probably brought it up before, was do you guys think that they kind of just assume that there had to be a savior of every world created by a God, rather than Jesus was the savior of all the world, which would kind of make sense, because then that would mean Jesus is better than God the Father, and he would have had to retroactively save him. But whatever, I don't care. And then, like, do you think that our Elohim, or our God the Father, was the Jesus of his earth when he was going through this trial? And they're like, yeah, he probably was. And I was like, probably not, you know, if that's a thing. And like, why not? And I just kind of autistically was like, well, I mean, what are the odds, right? Like the 1 out of a trillion, you know, like there's probably on his earth, assuming it's the same size and length of ours, like time wise, you know, there's been billions and billions and billions of people who have lived, and at least millions and millions of those became gods one day. So it's kind of like winning the lottery, saying that he's the Jesus of his world. Like, no, he's the Jesus. All right.
That's the other one that bugged me today was Cardin. Somebody referenced the you become a god. Oh, that's because he was talking about Doug Wilson.
Has that been
and he references
debunked?
that it's folklore.
It's
just folklore, guy.
Oh, so the prophets are preaching folklore. All right, I guess.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just like, no, that's not folklore. That's Mormon doctrine. Like, I mean, it does bother me that the church won't just come out and say it, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And then, you know, Gordon Hinckley goes on 60 Minutes. He's like, I don't know about that. I mean,
I don't know if we teach that.
How is Cardin phrasing that in the Doug Wilson one? He was saying something about,
he said it's folklore.
You guys are using this
Mormon
folklore,
doctrine.
but what was the concept he was talking about? Was it
that you become a god, and get a planet?
And says you don't realize that you're just commenting on somebody, like saying George Washington didn't say you chop down the cherry tree, you know. But what I forget in Mormonism, like, wasn't that phrase actually kind of passed around by the Mormons as
the prophet said it from the pulpit?
They said it from the pulpit a lot, but then there's also the scripture of as man is, God once was, as God is, man may become, which kind of, I don't know.
That's not, I mean, no, that's something Lorenzo Snow said, right?
I thought it was in DNC.
I think that was the phrase that Cardin was talking about.
I think Snow said it,
and that's what he's saying. That's just folklore.
That idea is all over. Like, you know, I mean, again, it is something that bugs me that, like, it's not going to be in any of the Sunday school manuals. Or actually, I wonder, because like,
you're right, it's Lorenzo Snow.
But no, that's absolutely Mormon doctrine. In fact, it's one of the niftiest
Cardin was saying
parts.
it was cherry tree folklore.
Yeah, and that's a retardation.
Troy is saying that he agrees with Flip that Jacob's argument, you worship the wrong God, may have unintended consequences as far as being accepted as Christian. To me, I think Jacob is focused on short-term winning. He may not recognize how unecumenical he sounds, and that's where the unintended consequences might come in.
Oh, for sure. It's kind of like, I don't understand this from the Mormon side or the Christian side, getting so, because like Christians will be butthurt that like Mormons say we're the one true religion, you guys don't have the whole truth, which I'm like, I don't know how you're that thin-skinned. Like a lot of religions believe that, but then the Mormons will get all butthurt when they say you're not the true church. You know, like I don't know how you grow up Mormon and have thin skin. I mean, I grew up in all the non-Mormon Christians that I knew would just like casually, when we talked about it, yeah, I believe you'll go to hell when you die if you don't become like
So-
me. And I'd be like, I kind of just got used to it. How do you not just get used to that and be like, well, he's wrong, but
So again, Nietzsche. This is one of the things I love. It cracks me up about Nietzsche. But his book Twilight of the Idols, which is actually my favorite book by him, and I've mentioned this before, but he points to the beginning of the end of Western culture was that Greek philosophy, which most people say is, well, isn't that the start of it, sort of thing. But his whole argument is the beginning of the end was all the reasoning and arguing and debating and all that sorts of stuff. And the only thing that ever does win is, behold, my God is better, screw you, and what you know about like Nietzsche and all that sorts of stuff. Well, there's things we looked at recently that Jonathan was showing us, that he knew some people getting into the Bronze Age pervert who was just kind of pushing the make your own God, make your own morals, make your own thing, and just say, screw you, I do this, type stuff. But that was Nietzsche's argument, is just the beginning of making big cobwebs of explanations, or trying to logic your stuff in, or trying to post hoc rationalize why you are doing different types of things, was where all of the fire was lost, and everything of conviction, and everything is just like almost kind of like on your back foot, justifying like, well, it's okay that I do this because that and that and that and this, and you'll never come to an answer. All you need to do is be like, behold, deal with my God, screw you. And so Twilight of the Idols was him like dunking both, because everybody knew he would dunk on Christianity and call it like slave morality and all that sorts of stuff, and then it was just like doomed to lose forever, like in that sort of like Republican squish way. That was Nietzsche's view of Christianity in that same sort of way. It's like it's just bred to turn the other cheek and lose. But then he goes back further and says, yeah, all of your philosophers too have always just been that, just sit there and like, I can, how those different like what they call the woke writers or stuff will call like Jews, like how the Jews are like constantly debating and, but honestly, you got to do this, the constant legalism and the constant, justifications, and finding what a bunch of those different people will say is every little ounce of deconstruction, or every little ounce of getting into nominalism of like what words mean and all that sorts of stuff actually all started all the hell the way back there with all that sorts of stuff. And it's all just been post hoc, justify your crap, but never really do it very, very, with fervor. And Nietzsche said, drop all that and just win,
I got to restart my computer. It's spazzed out, so I'll be back.
Gotcha.
Hellenized God. But yeah, I mean, like Flip was saying, like we were saying, I mean, all of this stuff is all the way through Mormonism, and like Risto, we saw Risto saw it, and he's like, I don't even think it's bad at all to get into the justifying, or the making sense of, or the Aquinas type stuff.
Ryan asked the sneaky question there. What is official doctrine? Not sure you can get more official than a manual published by the church that went through correlation. Oh, buddy. No way. That's not how it works.
Did anybody look it up if that ever was? Does Grok know or anything?
It doesn't matter what Grok says. It doesn't matter what anyone says. That's the number one Mormon apologist trick, is to say anytime you bring up a doctrine, if that was policy, not doctrine, it's really difficult to get them to nail down any specific doctrine. If you ask them, is the atonement doctrine, they'd probably say yes. I'm pretty sure they'd say yes. But one of these guys that uses that argument constantly might even hesitate on that one.
That sort of thing drives me. That simple concept. I mean, we've been talking about this forever. Running away from that concept is the dumbest thing Mormons can do. Like that to me is one of the, actually, I think I saw a stand-up comic talking about this. He was talking about like, well, why did I like Mormonism? Because my afterlife was awesome. Your guys' he was an ex-Mormon, but he was saying my afterlife was cool. Your guys' afterlife is dumb. Like you sit around with a harp or something like that. My afterlife kicked butt. But to me, like the Mormonism concept of eternal progress to become like the thing that you think is the top thing, why wouldn't you be like as Jacob says it, like an acorn that's supposed to grow up into the mighty oak tree?
Yeah, I get it. There was like a I think it was a McConkey thing where he's talking about his granddaughters. He's like, "Oh, look at the cute little kitties," and he's like, "And don't." And they're gonna grow up to be such beautiful ducks one day. And she's like, "They're not gonna grow up to be ducks. They're gonna be cats." Why is that? Because their mom and dad were cats. And don't forget, you're a daughter of God, and but they clearly they at least thought that was the thing, like a lot of the higher ups. But I always tell that to people at work. We were talking the other day, like a bunch of like atheists were all talking about like, oh, which religion would be the best to be true. And I always tell them that. I was like, Mormonism, of course. Are you kidding me? And like the lesbian commie who wants to use IVF to surrogate a baby, she was like, that wouldn't be good for me. I was like, what are you fucking talking about? Of course it would. You know enough about this doctrine to know how good it would be. There's no hell, unless you're like Judas, and you're not like Judas. You're just not valiant. So you would go to shitty heaven, which is so awesome that if you saw it, you'd kill yourself to get there. So no, Mormon heaven all the way. Like if I just haven't heard of a better one.
Like, how could you ever believe in Mormonism? Are you kidding? You believe in Mormonism? That bullshit? How did you do that? And I think the reason is because Mormon heaven is so much fucking better than the rest of you guys. I say it just is. Evangelical heaven, you guys know what evangelical heaven is? Evangelical heaven is singing praises unto God for eternity. Right? That's what you guys fought for? Booze-free karaoke for eternity? Fucking kill me twice if I get touched in that. Mormon heaven, you know Mormon heaven? Mormon heaven, you get to become a god. That is the plot to Disney's Hercules. Mormon heaven, except instead of having to fight Hades, you just have to fight the urge to masturbate. That's all you have to do. Which arguably harder fight. I have never lost the fight to Hades, but I have lost the fight to masturbation every day, or however often is normal.
Ryan Wimmer says that it's in the Gospel Principles Manual, and I just looked it up. Yep, final chapter.
So what was this Cardin talking about?
Well,
He's
and
full of shit. That's what he is.
Grok says yes, it was Mormon doctrine.
Like Cardin is consciously.
Should we look up him
saying
that and see if there's any?
Do you want? Yeah.
I'll pull it up. Let's see if there's.
But also, Riso asked the question, "What is official Mormon doctrine?" The answer is nobody knows.
That is true. Yeah, I forget that. I forget.
There are answers, but they don't work for obvious reasons.
Yeah, Forrest said the planet shit was in Fundamentals of Mormon Doctrine manual, and now is laughed off as folklore.
No, that's the other thing. Is like in a different conversation, Cardin 1000% cops to that, and is like, "It's fucking awesome. That's the coolest thing about Mormonism," which is true. That is the coolest thing about Mormonism.
Yeah,
like
it drives me crazy that they run from the best thing, and it's because they're trying to fit in with Christians who they're also constantly fighting with to show that they're different and better than
the Christians are trying to Holocaust you, Cardin. Stop trying to join with them.
Yeah.
Risto said Gospel Principles is an official doctrine. See, Risto knows Mormons really well because every Mormon apologist would agree with it. I don't know how. Well, then why print it? If it's a thing taught in church, why print the thing?
It is the thing that tells you that's how they teach the church. It's the official Sunday school manual for adults. But yeah.
Here, I got it.
Because that's even worse that it's in that manual. It's not just that it's not, if it's not doctrine, it's false doctrine. Because making a definitive statement of one day you'll become like God, that's a claim. And if they're saying, no, we don't believe that, well, we're putting the thing you don't believe in a book. It's dumb. Sorry.
Yeah.
Even have a practice in order for you to consider them fellow Christians.
The LDS position is that as God is, we may become, and as we are, God once was. And there is a multiplicity of them. Who is this Jesus?
Oh, okay. So he did that. He did that runaround, which is like the most recycled.
So he said that is their position, right?
Yeah.
which was there or is there or was there, or have they officially backed off of this? I guess is the second question at any point.
No,
Tepidly. It's kind of like they want to
it's
leave room.
still
to
in the
accept
gospel doctrine.
Like
Manual.
what did Doug say except the truth right there, right? If we just heard, we're just going off of what Doug said right there. Is it anything but the truth?
Don't know how.
That's that. He's right.
Recycled garbage I've heard in a million years.
And it's the most recycled garbage.
Everything is.
The funny thing is, he didn't even do a good job explaining the difference.
Yeah, what do you always say? We
Like-
demand.
All he just said is the Mormon position and then said the quote.
He literally all he did is he got it backwards. Like, but it has the exact same meaning as to
And
say
better enemies.
We demand better opponents. Yes.
Okay, so let's let him finish before we talk about how he absolutely butchers the couplet from, who was that? Joseph Fielding Smith, who said, "As
Yeah.
God is now, man once was; as man is now." No, sorry, as God is now, man may become.
Yeah, it's Lorenzo Snow.
Lorenzo Snow. That's it. Yeah, and it's a couplet that talks about the condescension of God, the fact that God came down and became flesh, just like it says in John 1:1.
that is
It's-
not
it's-
what
all-
that
all-
means.
All it's saying is the Christian
not-
thing. It just reworded basic
Well, either way, that
evangelical
would,
Christianity.
either way, it's still he's only accounting for one half of the saying, right? Because if as man is, God once was, just means he came down in the flesh as Jesus. You got to account for the other half of, and as God is, man may become. So we
I
can
don't
be
get it. I don't get it. Like, fight so hard, but not for your positions. You know, like-
He's
Which
like,
he believes too.
which he believes too. It's purposely butchering poetry.
That's not what it's
But
saying.
okay, fine. Let's keep going.
It's
Well,
not
he
poetry.
is someone who used to not be God, just like I'm not God right now. He used to be in that same position, and I'm going to be in the position that he's in now, which is being God over some planet or other.
Now, dude, this is like folklore that's been recycled for so long. This is the only thing I'll say, and then we'll keep going. But like, imagine if we literally tried to say people from Vermont aren't environmentalists because early founding fathers like George Washington cut down cherry trees.
I don't even understand.
And imagine if
that
like the
analogy.
historians just kept on coming out and saying, no, like
He's
okay,
just trying to say
George
Lorenzo
Washington
Snow
cutting
thing.
down the-
That phrase is the exact same thing as people talking about.
Oh, that came from Joseph Smith. Lorenzo Snow just later popularized it.
No, it's like it's 100% Mormon doctrine.
Well, they try
One of the
so
most
hard.
Fundamental things about Mormon theology.
Well, they fall over themselves trying to distance themselves from the King Follett discourse. I don't know how you do, because like Joseph Smith said, God is an exalted man seated in heavens, asserting that Adam was created in the very fashion, image, and likeness of God. He explained this great secret, stating that if the veil were removed, God would be seen like in man form like yourself, blah, blah, blah.
Explain to me, because the essence of this entire video, right, is that screw these evangelicals. They don't have our best. They're not looking out for us either, right? That's the whole thing. I mean, he's talking about Doug Wilson, but they're also kind of just leaning in the concept of anybody who's this kind of general Christian nationalist is going to come after the Mormons too. They're not our friends, right? And they're here saying, how dare you say we're different? We're exactly like you, but we don't want to be with you. We also want to dunk on you because screw you guys. We want nothing to do with you, but we're exactly like you and accept us in because we are you.
And you have the wrong God. But our
And-
God, we believe in the same God as you.
Like, what is the game? What's the end game? Like, get acceptance.
See, that thing is like, I think Jacob is thinking it through, and like Troy says, like he's just playing the debate bro game of can I win this argument? Cardin is not thinking it through. Like,
Did you guys see on the Mormon newscast, they pulled up this quote from Dallin H. Oaks that he said recently, that he said, if a church is not able to, he says part of religious freedom is saying that our church is the only true church.
Hmm.
And I'll pull that up too. That was kind of strange.
yeah, like I guess like you're allowed to believe what you believe, and lots of religions have some kind of exclusivity to them. Like Islam has exclusivity. ultimately Christianity has exclusivity. Like,
But is there any sort of religious freedom thing out there saying you're not allowed to say you're the only true church? They all must be the same.
you can't. Saying you can't say that?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I'll pull it up because like it didn't make any sense. But I'll keep playing this in the meantime.
The cherry tree was allegorical to his honesty, and it most likely probably didn't happen. There's no historical evidence that we know it exists in the zeitgeist and people recycle it, and it's a cute story. But like, you probably shouldn't repeat that seriously as a reason to deny rights to Vermonters, right? But then just imagine they just keep doing it, keep doing it. At what point do you just say, wow, you are literally just like looking for an excuse to be bigoted? He continues.
So it's bigoted to say.
And I would just say, just on the surface of it, that's just a different faith.
The pastor told me he wasn't involved in the decision to leave Latter-day Saints off the list of Christian faiths from the directory of recognized religious affiliations used by the Defense Department's Chaplain Corps.
I'm happy to tell you I had nothing to
This
do with
lady
it.
is gunning so hard for
like
an
a
NPR
Pentagon
job.
snafu, not a deliberate Pete Hegseth saying, let's make sure that the Mormons are not on the list of Christians. And the reason for that is that there were other groups manifestly not Orthodox that were left on, which told me that there was not a doctrinal purge going on.
Experts on conservative white evangelicals don't think that Latter-day Saints should start worrying about seeing their voting rights stripped away anytime soon, but any movement toward a reconciliation that might have been underway in previous decades is almost certainly over. As Calvin University's Kristen Commies put it, with conservatives in power, Latter-day Saints' electoral muscle is just less valuable. And that means evangelicals simply don't feel the need to play nice anymore.
Ooh, what do you think about that last phrase? Is that just the Salt Lake Tribune sowing discord because they obviously prefer the quote liberals and the secular and the politically progressive? Or do you think it's actually true that with conservatives in charge, evangelicals don't feel like they got to play nice anymore?
It's absolutely true. And I can ask both of you this question right now.
Okay.
If given the chance and you both were
gay,
some weird, some bizarre constitutional, there was a page we never discovered and we finally found it and in the Constitution. And
please tell me it was Nicolas Cage that found it. But yes, continue.
It was, oh my God.
And basically it just magically says Cardin Ellis and Luke Hansen are now going to control the entire country and they get to set up the voting system. Would either of you in this magical scenario ever forbid anyone of any religious affiliation from voting?
Oh gosh, no.
Okay, I would do the right thing.
No, unless
right now I'm saying no. I don't mean that.
Like,
right now I'm saying no.
Yeah, the Church of Jerry Springer doesn't count.
Exactly. These inmates that show up and say, "I worship the flying spaghetti monster,"
from the
and
Church of Jerry Springer.
If Utah had a population of Church of Moscow, Idaho, what do they call their church? Isn't it just called the Moscow Church?
I don't remember.
If their population was suddenly 60% of Utah, would they want to do something about that vote? It's like almost the same concept of Israel. Like they say, and actually used to be true of the United States. You know, we used to have a quota on certain types of immigrants before like the Hart-Celler Act. And it didn't say they couldn't immigrate, but there had to be like a hard percentage cutoff, just like Israel had. And that was true in the United States because they couldn't get to a point of like having a voting block that
I would definitely do that.
But wouldn't Utah would want to do that, right? The Mormon Church would want to do that. If Utah was getting to a point that a voting block of another religion was big enough to butt them out, they would want to say, hey, we got a problem here.
If they could do it without any paper trail leading back to them, maybe. It's just the Mormon Church is very cucked right now. So I feel like they would corporate safetyism into oblivion if they were faced with it.
I mean, this kind of goes aligned with it, this thing here.
That conclusion can cause us and others a serious loss of religious freedom. So,
let me start.
The fashionable opinion of this age is that all churches are true. If that is so, then all religious messages that identify differences in religious doctrine like ours, are unimportant. That conclusion can cause us and others a serious loss of religious freedom.
Okay. Now, here's the thing. I understand him when he says that if all religions are true, then that means any differences between them are unimportant. I can understand that. What I can't get my head around is what he means when he says that the same thing, the idea that all churches are true, can result in a significant loss of religious freedom. Now, I'm not going to answer your
Is it just saying that,
We'll
like,
just go to
allowing
these
to point
slides that I
out
put together.
differences? I mean, who out there is
well,
saying you're
okay.
not allowed to point out religious differences? Like, I equally was confused by what point he was.
I mean, there's plenty of universalists that are like, I just think everyone's,
I know they say that, but like, who's saying that it must? Like, nobody out there must point out differences to say any church is true.
So it's not like a must, but we're doing it with. I mean, we do it with all the woke shit, right? We it's not like a rule to say that you, at least not in America, that you can't point out that that men and women have natural differences instead of just conditioned differences. But the more that becomes sort of a social rule, the more it kind of fucks you over if you try to point out the natural differences. So I guess I kind of get. I'm trying to steel man.
Why is it a concern of religious freedom? Like,
I mean, if you get enough of if it's politics is downstream of culture, right? And so if enough of the social rule becomes then that could become the literal rule, I guess. I don't know.
You must say all of them are all the same or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, if you got enough of the population that was just universalist, there's no culture that's better than any other culture. They could make it the law of the land.
Speaking of which, this just reminded me. Did you see that, like, the King of England came out and said that he's now the defender of the faiths instead of the defender of the faith?
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, pussy.
Oh, man.
That a loss of religious freedom.
That's pretty wicked.
I don't know. Like, I don't know, like, what they're talking about there, but that kind of goes back to here of, like, I don't understand the game of delineating what the difference between the LDS are and the evangelicals are, while also fighting to say, no, we're the same kinds of Christians, not exactly the same, but we're Christians and we want in the big tent, but we also want a different thing. But then also we're worried about religious freedom. Like, I don't know. I mean, am I overthinking it?
I mean, it almost seems like that woke thing of, like, call it shit until you control it. Like, they want the power and they want the clout and they want the influence that mainstream Christians have. At the same time, they want to be their own thing and they want to be in charge and they think that they are the ultimate authority.
But what would Mormons do with that ultimate authority? I mean, I guess they've allowed pluralism in around Utah, but they've ebbed and flowed with how cool they are with that or not. My guess is if, like, they were like a grand power of the entire nation, they'd be pretty ecumenical. They'd be pretty pluralistic until a point. Just like the Jews, just like everybody, like, until a point, until you guys are taking over, now we got to say something or do something. I mean, isn't that true of maybe even any type
of? What I have to take is, like, the church is very, very ecumenical when they're the underdog, and like, that's the same thing that everybody always says about Islam, is that, like, they're all about, hey man, liberalism when they're not in charge. But as soon as they're in charge, then it's like, no, do what we say.
I press your principles because they're according to you, but I don't put your principles on me because they're not according to me, type stuff. I don't know, man. I don't know. Anyway, that's that stuff in the world of fighting between religions, to say that you're different, but you're the same and we can all get along, but we can't get along and we should rule. But I don't know. and it's all a better future than the way we're fighting politically right now, I guess. As if like we like swapped our problems of political infighting for religious infighting. It all just goes to, it seems like the only thing you can balance stuff out with is like, let's get back to this fight instead of that fight, because that fight's getting too hot. That fight's too hot. Let's get back to this fight, and we'll curb stuff off a little bit here. Catholics, we got the Catholicism is cool guy in there. The Catholics, man, I saw some people talking about the Catholic occupied government, just like they were making fun of kind of going after that thing of saying like people always talk about it's the Zionist occupied government, the Zogs and all that sort of stuff. They said no, if you actually look at it, it's a Catholic. I mean, who passed the birthright citizenship thing except for a bunch of Catholics, and most of the judges all over the country are Catholics, and we got a Catholic occupied government everywhere.
That's why I agree with John Doyle on that one. It's the theater kid occupied government.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Well, the Catholic guy says that Mormons go to hell. Well, okay.
Do Catholics believe that? Isn't it purgatory?
I don't know. What's the
No,
difference
purgatory's gone. They got rid of purgatory.
So it's just straight to hell in Catholicism now?
Are the people who went to purgatory before they got rid of purgatory grandfathered into purgatory, or like, sorry, we're relocating you to hell?
The thing is like I'm always on here kind of like chirping about like the dangers of modernism, that no matter what, everything kind of gays out. The Robert Conquest laws kind of happens to just any sort of kind of large liberalized world, but it happens to every religion too. Like every religion is just as susceptible to the pitfalls of modernism.
Oh, that's right. The purgatory isn't gone. It's the
goddamn
unbaptized babies don't go to purgatory anymore. That's what's gone.
Okay.
But
what about the previous unbaptized babies that went to purgatory? Are they still there?
What about Down syndrome babies?
These guys are both Catholics,
I guess.
I don't know. And then also, do those
purgatory
go to hell
real.
for sure?
We don't know shit about Catholicism or care. Your whole religion.
I
mean, you got a pope who's you're talking about this guy's being gay. The popes are the gayest thing on earth.
Now,
man.
we never said unbaptized babies going to purgatory was a teaching of the church for hundreds of years. That I know for damn sure.
Oh, this is big squats here saying we're legitimately stupid.
Yeah,
I don't pay attention to your dumb religion. Your big dumb hat religion.
No, the unbaptized babies going to purgatory, that was absolutely a thing. No, but do those not the Sedevanticists.
Listen to these guys. Unbaptized babies is the subject. Okay, yeah, they are dumb. This guy cracks me. I've seen him pop up on the other Mormon channels. He's hilarious. He says he squats 500.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I remember.
We better not mess with him, guys.
Does the society
scaring me?
Does the Society of St. Pius, those guys who just got excommunicated, they're going to hell too?
There's all sorts of Catholics out there that I think are cool and awesome. Like I like those dudes.
Oh yeah.
What's that guy? Tim whatever from Rules for Renegades and those guys. Those are cool dudes. But
are the Catholics fighting with each other and us?
Isn't that Catholicism in general?
Yeah.
These guys are legit retarded. Hell is where unbaptized babies go.
Are we more retarded, or is the Society of St. Pius the Ninth or whatever they're called? Are they? Who is more hellbound?
This guy knee jerks. Like he knee jerks harder than like any sort of Mormon or any sort of person does. If any sort of like whiff of Catholicism being poopy comes at him at all. You got your dumb poo faces.
That's because that's what
purgatory is for double sinners. We don't care about like your magic, like a little church. Like we never paid that much attention to Catholicism.
Yeah. No, it's because
Jesus Christ, strike them down.
Like I still laugh at all the Catholic versus Mormon debates, which really are literally just I know you are, but what am I? I know you are, but what am I? I know you are, but what am I?
The Trent Horn and all that sorts of stuff.
You get Jacob standing there, guys. We all have stupid shit that doesn't make any sense. Okay,
oh, man.
Let's not point out the stupid shit that doesn't make any sense for me, and I won't do it to you.
The American Protestant is chastising the Catholics for saying the Lord's name in vain. Then because for me, like, there's also this whole irony about like like Bart Ehrman's next thing.
Hey, you did. You
'cause, like,
said "goddamned idiots" up there. Of course, you said it.
but like Bart Ehrman's, he's fully retired now from his academic life, and he's doing these courses now. And his next course is about how there's no hell in the Bible, like the eternal fire and damnation, the eternal torment form of hell. He's got like that's his next course. Is like that's a later invention. It's not biblical, and it's like, and I agree with that. Like that's one of the things that like Joseph Smith figured out. Like Joseph Smith read the Bible and was like, hey, hang on a second, that doesn't make sense. But like, so like for me from the outside, it's all this stuff where it's like, it can't be Greek. I'm like, well, yes, it can, and it's like, you'll burn in hell. Like, there's no hell in the Bible. Like, it's so nice not being like dogmatically tied to anything. You get to just read the Bible for its own sake and understand religion in its own way. Infinite regress.
That was the whole other thing.
We have never had that teaching that unbaptized babies go. Yes, you have. Yes, you have. They officially came out and changed it. There's a Wikipedia article. I mean, there must be. I know because I was alive when they announced that.
It was fairly recent, I thought.
That was one of the big things I was telling you guys about this week, that it came out like James Lindsay claimed that Protestantism was a form of taking a Hebrew method back towards the Catholics. and a bunch of people got mad at him for saying that, but that's what we mean by Judeo-Christian, because Protestantism was bringing back in the struggling with your own interpretations of stuff and struggling with your own philosophies or your own readings of something versus some big conglomerate of a religion like the Catholicisms. But then a bunch of people took issue with him with that and saying, well, you're saying the Jews taught the Protestants how to be Protestants. I have never witnessed a dumber group of guys in my life. Hey, take a video of you doing squats. Catholicism is cool. I want to see your squat. You told me you squat like 550. I want to see if you go parallel. Do you go parallel? Catholicism is cool. Never seen a dumber group of guys.
Oh,
go somewhere else.
Limbo.
I'm out. You guys are super stupid. No offense.
No
unbaptized babies.
Hey, go find another channel to spurg out on the second they say anything about your weird Pope.
No. The Limbo is slightly different from purgatory. So he gets half.
Hey, and tell your Pope to stop going to each country
but
demanding that they have infinite.
It's absolutely the case that they taught that unbaptized babies went to limbo.
Hold on a second. How many different types of heaven do these people have? And then they
do more than Mormons.
Below parallel,
guys.
little bro. Show me the video. I want to see the video, and make sure that you're not 350 pounds yourself, because that gets a whole lot easier when you get that big. But is limbo still a thing?
Google is limbo
Limbo
ever
and
an official
purgatory
thing?
is different.
You know when he's asking Google if limbo was ever an official thing. Okay, we're just making fun of Mormons for doing this exact thing. You understand that? Like, just making fun of them for being like, that was just policy, not
Catholicism is
doctrine.
just full of that crap. It's just infinite.
It's just Catholic. It's Catholic folklore.
Yeah.
In fact, Catholics probably got that idea.
Are we talking before or after Vatican II? Because it didn't matter.
They probably got the idea from racist Protestants in Arkansas.
Hey, Catholicism is cool. I have no problem with Catholics, except for your Pope says that everybody needs infinite immigration into their countries, and he should shut up and bugger off. But beyond that, I never had any problems with Catholics until you. I don't like you now. Like, bugger off, you dingus. You fake squatting dingus.
Limbo, okay, buddy. Limbo was never an official teaching. Now grant Mormons the grace of saying that getting your own planet was never an official teaching.
Man, we know how the game is. We don't have a problem with Catholicism. We're here talking about Mormonism that we used to be in and how they play those goofy games. But whatever. I appreciate how lavender the Vatican is. What's lavender in quotes, Risto?
Royal.
I've never met a group of, well, I've seen you on other live streams and you said that was the dumbest group of guys. Like, that's all you say on live streams. Like you're just here on the internet to call people whatever dum-dums and claim that you squat a lot.
You can definitely be dumber if you want.
Okay,
The popes never taught limbo, but
no,
Mormon prophets did
You
teach
know-
Kolob. Maybe get a clue.
Fuck, I was playing a game. I was having a good time playing a game here, and I'm gonna fucking look it up.
Now there's other stuff to talk about and then talk to
I
this
will.
goofus who's gonna bug
Yeah,
it out.
I got to go in like 15 minutes too.
By groups of guys, I mean Mormons. I've seen you on Ward Radio. Yeah. By the way, we aren't Mormons.
Although the word limbo itself is never mentioned in the Catechism, nonetheless, the theory of limbo has weighty support in traditional teachings of doctors of the Church, such as St. Thomas Aquinas, St. Augustine, St. Alphonsus Liguori. No, it's the same thing of Mormons, where they're like, just that, like, well, the prophets teach it. That makes it true. Hey, that's never been officially put the stamp of officialdom on it. It's like, yeah, okay, well, like if you're going to play that game with everything Catholics believe, same thing for Mormons, you end up twisting yourself into an impossible knot of contradictions and lies.
He says you have low T, Flip. Post physique, faggot.
Was Aquinas or Augustine a pope? No, but did any of the popes jump off or use or rely on Aquinas or Augustine? Does
Okay, you gotta-
Horn live off of Augustine or Aquinas?
You know what
It was
would
never
have
in the
happened?
catechism. I'm sure he has like the perfect
The
pristine
limbo of
all
infants
them.
is neither affirmed nor denied by Catholic doctrine. Like, I love that language. We can neither confirm nor deny that you're
You know what would have
unbaptized
happened?
baby.
You know what would have happened if you'd come at this? That you could have been like, actually,
So like,
they were never going to purgatory. They were going to limbo, but that was never taught by a pope. And we'd be like, huh, that's nifty. Let's look. Oh, we'll look at
So-
that.
well,
These
it's just like-
stupid books.
like, this is another thing. Like, did you think this through? Because, like, okay, if that's not dogma, then you don't need to be baptized. But
Beautiful.
That's that. If it's not dogma, then you don't go to hell if you're unbaptized. There you go.
The Lavender Mafia. Oh yeah, I think I've heard of that. Yeah. Oh, there's just so much.
Anyway,
Catholic
Catholicism
history.
is boring, so we should talk about something
Yeah,
else.
I don't want to sit and look up all the millions of things I've heard about
I
the
like
Catholic
nice
Catholic
Catholics.
Church being like goofy over the years, and I generally
I'm-
don't care.
I'm
When
just
my
trying to
friend
grind
died,
your guys'
his
gears.
parents were very devout Catholics, and even though
Catholics
he
have
died
very
a
cool
Buddhist-
churches. Their churches
Like-
look a lot cooler than Mormons, for sure.
Yeah, I know, but like,
Oh, it's a gay clergy, the Lavender Mafia.
oh,
Oh, I've heard. I mean, I heard most of those guys up at the top are gay anyway, but
but like, yeah, when my friend died, he was a Buddhist, but he was raised Catholic, and his parents were extremely Catholic, the good kinds, not like this guy.
I've never had a problem with a Catholic in my life until this clown.
Like, but that's one thing. Like, I mean, because they had the full-on Catholic ceremony for when people die, and I sat through all of that, and it was neat. And then the next day we did the Catholic funeral mass, and I sat through all of that, and it was neat. And part of it I thought was like, it's just guys in funny costumes speaking a language I don't understand. But also, like, that was one of those things where, like, as an atheist, I'm like, this is what religion is for, because like that's one of those things that like John Larson a million years ago said, like, what do atheists do when somebody dies? Like the Mormon Church, like, if I died tomorrow, I would probably have a funeral at a Mormon church, not because I want it, not that I care, not because it's in my will, but when my family is looking around for somebody to handle a funeral, the church will be there to do it because they're nice like that, And like, if an atheist dies, what system, what process, what resources does atheism have to fucking host a funeral and take care of all those people? And what ceremony they have to help people deal with that crap, And like the Buddhists have one, they've had one for 1,000 years.
He was complimenting your religion, you stupid fuck.
Yeah,
Jesus fucking Christ.
Okay, but like, and yeah, but just that, like, because in both cases, I'm like, okay, this is why we need religion. Is when somebody dies, what do we do? And the Buddhists and the Catholics have an answer, and I liked both of their answers, and I'm saying that as an ex-Mormon atheist guy that doesn't go to church, but like, I do think it was kind of funny that it all ends up being some guy in a weird costume speaking a language I don't understand. But
Yeah, I
that's
remember
also
when I
what
left
worked
the
about it.
church- I remember when I left the church, I told my brother, I was like, look, I know if I die.
Stop saying
you'll-
no offense, jackass. Like, no offense is the most cucked thing to say when you're saying offensive
Oh,
things.
you're very
Like, you say
offensive.
no offense, but you say an offensive thing is the most bitch ass womanly thing anybody ever does in history. You're talking low T. No offense, but you're gay is the most feminine way of talking in history.
You're not hurting my feelings, but you are trying. So
Maybe
don't
learn
pretend
Latin.
like you're
It's not hard. Well, now we should have him on to speak Latin.
Jesus
to us.
Christ.
Maybe
Yeah.
See if
learn
he speaks
Latin. It's not hard.
We'd like you to speak Latin to us.
You gotta come up with something other than goofus. This
Show
is
us how
so-
dumb we are. we all speak languages here. You know,
Learn classical Tibetan.
we all speak
It's not
Latin
hard.
languages here. All three of us.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
He's not Catholic. He's trolling. Trust me. I troll like this all the time, taking on whatever role I need to in order to piss people off. We've seen my other channels doing this sorts of stuff. He's a Protestant troll trying to make Catholics look bad. If that's true, if that's true, we've been duped. And
Wait, it's Carden. Because Carden has come onto our channel and talked like this. Only he did it.
Yeah, let's let him go.
go.
Risto asked what Mormon funerals are like. Risto, they
Mostly
are
boring.
the most drab thing on earth. They
They're
used to
dull
be
as
fine,
shit.
just kind of a normal funeral, but like 10 or 15 years ago, they made an announcement that you weren't supposed to overly talk about the person who was dead. You were supposed to talk about gospel stuff. Yeah, you didn't hear that?
One thing that did annoy me was something that I've experienced many times is Mormon funeral hijacking, where that was one of the worst experiences of my mission. It was one of the times that I really regretted not just putting my junior companion foot down, but I participated in a Mormon funeral hijacking and I felt terrible about it. Because there was a guy that lived in our ward, was a never Mormon. He was like a secular motorcycle guy, and he died unexpectedly. And his good friend and neighbor was the ward mission leader. And that thing's like, dead guy's family knew what Mormons were like, and it was an unexpected funeral. And so they said, can you help us, Mormon guy? And Mormon guy's like, sure, I'll help you. But Mormon guy came to us. He's like, hey, I think you guys should give a talk and a prayer. And I was like, no, I don't think we should. And I just got vetoed. I got overruled by everybody else. So Mormons ran this whole thing. We were sitting up there and it was ridiculous because we were in our missionary clothes. And I managed to negotiate my way down to I'll say a prayer. And I tried my hardest to do the most non-Mormon prayer I could. I was consciously trying to avoid the Mormon prayer shibboleths and tried to give the most bland Protestant non-Mormon prayer I could. And then my companion got up and basically gave a funeral flavored first discussion.
Talk about Joseph Smith.
Yeah, no, it was so stupid because and then ward mission leader guy who was running the funeral, he even he kind of wrapped it up, and people were kind of getting and people were looking at each other the room had a dark feel to it. And then people were getting up to leave, and a guy walked up he kind of he didn't storm up, but he had an energy about him, and he came up to the microphone. He's like, I just felt that somebody who knew dead guy should say something. And then he related a story where the guy told an extremely inappropriate joke and everybody laughed. And I shot out of there. I was like, I can't believe this. I really felt so gross about that. And then, same thing, my friend, one of my friends from when I was a teenager, died unexpectedly. And, he was a whiskey drinking, drug doing atheist. He hadn't been to church since he was a kid, but the Mormons hijacked his funeral. And it was the same thing where it's dude, this guy was not like this. He would not be up for all this God talk. If he was here, he would be laughing at you guys and making extremely inappropriate jokes. That's the Mormon funeral hijacking. But I didn't hear this thing about all
right, later, Goofus.
Don't even talk.
Look, Goofus, I looked up how to say in Latin, go away, you dumb Catholic. It says abi stulte catholice. That's a direct, somewhat classical style, Brendan. Go away, you stupid Catholic.
Oh, he forgives us. Thank God. I was worried.
We
Yes,
do not
but
forgive
that's
you too, because you neither squat that much
Wait,
nor
wait,
you are
you
Catholic,
don't have the
and you don't
you
speak
don't
Latin.
you don't have the priesthood. You can't forgive us. You
We
don't have
don't-
that power, guy.
Anyway, Flip, here it is. I mean, this was Googled by Grok, but it's true. Yes, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints has guidelines in its official general handbook that encourage focusing funeral services on gospel, particularly the plan of salvation, the atonement, and resurrection of Jesus Christ, while limiting tributes to the deceased so they do not dominate.
Jeez,
That's
that
so
is
stupid.
that is wow.
My dad was a bit stressed about it because at the time frame he was conducting different funerals all the time, and he felt like pressured to get people to stop talking about the deceased.
Jesus.
Yeah. When a bishop conducts the funeral, or when requested elsewhere, it's treated as a church meeting and a religious service. It should be spiritual. I think they talked about this in church, and I think it was Russell and Nelson. Maybe they'll get away from it. Bishop and counselors oversee planning and consider family wishes. So it's supposed to be overseen by the bishop, like nobody in the family.
Because I mean, because it's already kind of the fact that it's held in the chapel already kind of constrains what you can do.
Yeah, you can't tell like some funny,
you're not supposed
wild
to laugh
story
much
that
into it.
happened, or if my parents have a funeral, or whatever, and I'm supposed to speak it, I will ignore that one.
No, we're saying you don't have the correct priesthood because the Mormon Church is the one true gospel. So we also don't have it. I kind of maybe technically still do. I never officially left the church, but I do drink alcohol. So
you kind of get. You said it's more similar to the Catholic funeral. I kind of get it. Yeah, I mean, I get it. There might be like other times to talk about the person rather than like that meeting where people are sitting there and kind of wanting to get out of there. But at the same time, you said you saw a hijacked funeral. I never saw, like, every funeral I saw focused on the deceased, but it was totally classy. You've seen one get unclassy and somebody talking?
why would you not talk about the person? I don't understand. Of course, that's the place to talk about the person.
Here's the explicit
I'm
statement.
glad my dad's funeral was not held at church because
Funerals are an opportunity to pay tribute to the deceased. However, such tribute should not dominate the service. A special family gathering separate from the funeral service is usually a better setting for the family who wants more time to share tributes or memories.
Well, like, this is weird, like, because
it's the exact time to pay tribute. It shouldn't dominate. It's their
that's
funeral.
how, like, that. Well, like, that makes sense. Like, because the Catholic Mass, the Catholic funeral Mass, is like the funeral Mass. It has a particular format. There's particular things you say. Like, it's almost like an ordinance. Like, now, if there was a Mormon ordinance that was like the funerary ordinance, that would make sense. But
Trey says, if I'm asked to speak at one of my Mormon friends or family's funerals, I'm going to open by reading that guideline. That's the laugh, right? You want to know what's funny? Since I'm like the only person out, think about this. I've thought about this before, and knock on some wood. I'm the only person out in my extended family, except for my cousin who's vanished. If I die and you go to my funeral, you're getting Sunday school, man. Like that's if all you guys go and show up to it, you're going to just get like a sacrament meeting, because my family will follow that 100%. Even it's for me.
yeah.
Context,
because my family's always had really good funerals because my family is funny, and so like
mine were too, but I think it was all before this. Like, this was like 10 years ago or something.
Yeah, no, that's ridiculous. But I was also kind of thinking, because like a lot of the funerals in my family were not held in the chapel, which really helped a lot. But yeah, God, I'm just thinking about that. Like, yeah, every time, like, all the funerals I've had in Mormon chapels have not been good. That is,
I've been to some good ones in chapels. They were classy and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
I have been to so few funerals.
If we're sticking on Mormon things,
you hit a point where like that thing is like, in what was it, 3 years ago? How long ago did my dad die? And I remember having this thought, like, when I was a kid, and my grandparents' generation was dying, and I was like, gosh, and I'd watch my dad carrying the casket, and and I was just a kid. I'm like, I wonder if I'll ever carry a casket. And then 3 years ago, like in one calendar year, I carried 3 caskets. Like it all hit at once.
Jesus.
Like, it just came as like a Yeah.
I have 6 grandparents that are all alive, but from 85 to 95, I think. So.
6. What kind of inbred Idaho shit is that?
Divorce, okay?
Oh.
Yeah,
And
I had 6 grandparents too because of a divorce.
See, I had a holy family, and I just had the 4. No, like I was entirely out of grandparents by the time I was 22 years old.
I had one grandma who was very not Mormon, and when my grandpa died, and she was the married in grandma, and she did not want anything to do with the Mormon funeral. Oh, to answer the question also, Reese, do they do a consecration of the grave, which isn't that long of a thing, just kind of like a prayer and a thing, and they're buried in their temple clothes, which can really weird people out with an open casket.
It
That'll
just
be like
looks.
the first time you go and see them.
They
Oh,
just
yeah, that's
look
like
so
if before
stupid.
the internet, that was the only time a non-Mormon saw the temple clothes.
What the fuck?
Was on a dead guy.
You want to know what? If I died, that might happen to me too. Like,
Yeah.
really, you know.
Well, yeah, because you're still officially, and your priesthood is still active and
No,
stuff.
no. I'm resigned.
Oh, did you? When
Yeah,
did
you
do
were
that?
there when they brought the letter to my house.
Jeez, I have no memory of my own.
You don't
life.
remember? No, you remember you were at my house when the bishop came over, and
He didn't bring the letter. Maybe he.
but he said to you and to my girlfriend at the time, "Did you know that he resigned?" And I wasn't even there. I never even met the guy.
I don't think. I think that might have been because I don't remember having that conversation. With
That was
him.
you. That was you and Heather at my old house.
No, that must have been a different. I think Heather must have gotten a different one because when I was there, that guy came over. He didn't talk about resigned.
Oh, I thought he did because that's the moment I thought it did happen. Because if that didn't happen, it's not a different time. I thought that happened at that time.
No, because like Heather was not there when I talked to that guy. I still think it was
She
fascinating.
might have told me, maybe I'd ask her again, but she said that the guy said, "Did you know that he resigned?" to somebody who wasn't me.
Yeah, that wasn't me. But the other thing is like with that guy, I remember because I just was talking to him because I'm just sitting on the front porch, because I was just like Chris isn't home, and I think I remember just saying like I can tell he's probably like he'll talk to you, but I don't think because it felt like one of those things where your Mormon parents forwarded your records on your behalf, and that's what they were doing was contacting. But I was talking to him. I'm like, well, what do you do? And he said, I'm an attorney at Curtin McConkie. And I'm like, oh yeah, what kind of law? Yeah, no, he said, oh yeah, what kind of law do you do? And he said, like, I work in the sex abuse department.
No
way. I said, well, you must have some stories. He said, no, I don't, not really. I'm like, bull. I didn't say, I'm like, bullshit, you don't.
Dang, we should have known. We should have invited him over
stories.
to hang out all the time to see.
Yeah. No, that's things like, I mean, I know he can't talk about it, but I guarantee he had some stories to tell.
Got to, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's got to be a crazy job. How do you keep your faith? Like, I just want that's some faith. If you can work for Curtin McConkie in the sex abuse department and maintain full Mormon faithdom and be a Mormon bishop, that's a powerful trick.
I don't know. I bet they kind of do run of the line.
I think the sex abuse stuff would not be as hard as the being a lawyer for a church. Because I can understand why there would be bad faith actors who weasel their way into church and do terrible, evil things. I could handle my faith could handle that. It'd be very difficult for my faith to handle bureaucracy.
I need to talk to her more. But one of my friends, who's an ex-Mormon, her dad was the top accountant for BYU for decades, and then became an accountant at the church office building. And when the whole SEC fine story broke, so this is a story she related to me that he told her, it's like, yeah, I'm part of the team that blew the whistle on that. And I'm kind of like, does that affect your faith? Like you're an accountant and you're like, he said, like, he's the whistleblower. He's the guy who saw that they were doing sneaky accounting.
I imagine maybe it's when that stuff kind of sneaks up you on degrees, you can kind of compartmentalize it a little bit better. If they threw you straight into the deep end and you're just like a normal dude at one point, I thought you were going away, you dipshit. Jesus fuck. You forgave us. Now fuck off.
The best case scenario, 2 out of 3 low T goofuses. But one of us very obviously, very, very, very clearly has all the tea.
You didn't have to say that, Flip. That's
You
so
can't-
nice of you,
No, no,
buddy.
No, because because I mean, it's for
One of
for
us is
two
a
of us.
bodybuilder.
For 2 of us, it's impossible to know without a blood test. It could be anything. For one of us, it's very obviously tea. What? Dude, we need to have a funeral for this fucking podcast episode. It's gone to shit.
Well, I mean, we stayed on Mormon subjects when there's 1,000,001 political subjects out there in the world, and maybe I kind of like sticking on the Mormon subjects anyway. But you want to fast run a couple of them before you got to bail?
Yeah, let's do.
That happened this week. We had, of course, the Patriot Front stuff all happening.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then, of course, that led to this very momentous moment in
So
history.
I've heard people say it's all AI, half of it's AI. Is it the same day that because she's wearing the same shirt?
This is a different train on the same day, but maybe that one's AI. But there's definitely arrest records of her.
But like,
doing it,
how
but
is it like?
at the same time, like the original picture. Oops, I don't need that.
How does it? I don't believe that it naturally shakes down to a train car with one black girl with a mental illness, 30 white nationalists, and one Reuters photographer.
Yeah.
Like how that just feels so unnatural.
They got schizo Rosa Parks on the bus there and positioned her. She doesn't even. It's like, oh, she's so poised. She's not even afraid. No, she doesn't look afraid. She doesn't really look poised. She looks fucking high.
I mean, maybe like I said, like take it all at 100% face value. All it shows is that a black lady on a train is perfectly safe, even when surrounded by dedicated white nationalists.
I know.
Like
So
that's
stupid.
that's the best. That's what we can take away from this. That she's literally safer around a bunch of white nationalists than the average day's train load of DC residents.
So, what do you think about Patriot Front? Feds or not feds, or just infiltrated by feds?
Well, that's
I think the only question is feds are only infiltrated by feds.
Yeah, but like the thing about the Patriot Front is like there's not a single fat one. That's impossible. There's no way that they're all.
They've all got Catholicism is cool level T.
They're all fit.
The type of tea that makes it so you can squat.
They're all
lots.
fit dudes. They're all tall. They're all clean shaven. Like it just feels too. It's too on the nose, and like this whole picture. It's so on the nose. I mean, maybe it's all perfectly legitimate, but it just feels too contrived.
Yeah, it's all goofy, and then a bunch of people are in defense. But then of course people were saying like, well, that lady was safer on the train. Some people were kind of pointing out of the concept of, Irina Zaritsky sits on the train like that, and the crime happens after her, whereas those guys sit on it and she stops doing the crime, and that's the major difference. But who knows if a group like that would get out of whack.
Like, the thing about her exposing herself, like I think it was Washington Post, it was one of the legitimate news sources that her brother, like they said, like, yeah, no, she did get arrested for exposing herself, but she has a mental illness. So it's like, okay, so then that part's true, I guess. But
Reese was telling Catholicism is cool to join the panel to show us his tea. I don't know if he's still hanging out here or he'd be spurging in the comments, but here's a link if you want to come in.
Post physique, bitch.
Post physique, yeah. But I don't know. Anyway,
I'm coming on to show these Mormons what the one true God actually wants. Yeah.
It's not all bad. At least you get paid like you're as good as me. You said the USA women's soccer team.
Uh,
Any commentary on the red card?
So I'm almost
Stupid.
glad that the United States lost just because
That's-
it died. Because like if they kept going, that story would have kept going. Like there's a lot of layers to that.
So
But
was it a stupid red card? Was it a bullshit red card?
it was extremely soft,
Okay.
and it's something. It's an issue that
I
they
think
have
it's
been
better
talk-
for Belgium to win against the full team. I mean, isn't that like a higher pin for them?
Well, sure, but
Well,
it's,
no, but I mean part of the game, like because that thing's like the other teams in this World Cup have had players sent off for red cards, and they got the mandatory. There's a minimum 1-game suspension with red cards. That's the rule. And the other rule is that they're not appealable, which is weird because I don't know if that's World Cup rules. Because like in league soccer, you can appeal red cards, and they get overturned. That happens, but it's been an issue for as long as there's been VAR. That there are these cases that at regular speed it just looks like a foul.
yeah.
And then on super slow-mo, it's like, oh, that looks bad.
Can you
and
challenge?
then-
Can you challenge in soccer?
No, not
Oh.
yet. But like, because the rules say basically like bottom of shoe on ankle is a red card, But I think the rules also say like, well, it's, there's that kind of fuzzy incidental thing. The thing about this that makes it, because the other thing is like, the part where the card got overturned it's not even overturned. That's what I found out. Like the suspension was suspended. Like it
Oh
wasn't
yeah,
even
he has to do it in like a year, right?
Yeah, like it's like like if he doesn't get another red card in a World Cup this year, then like no, the whole thing reeks of stupidity. But like
Is this all just because he was black?
But the part where Trump took credit for it is what really made it strange. And because who knows, maybe he did, but like because FIFA came out and said like, well, it had nothing to do with that. We did this entirely on our own. It's like that doesn't ring true because like there's a lot of marginal cases that happen, and this is the first time they've ever just on their own recognizance have gone back and reviewed something and suspended the suspension.
Well, so it's sort of the difference between them and Trump. Them, when they do something kind of underhanded like that as a favor to a high-powered friend, most people understand that you say, no, that had nothing to do with that. But Trump is just a petty dickhead. So of course he had to be like, it was me. I got the red card suspended.
But it's also like that, the NPR had an article like, this starts the slide onto the slippery slope slide. And it's like, this is not the first time politicians, like including like presidents of countries, have complained about FIFA and tried to throw their weight around. And it's almost certainly not the first time that that's had an effect on what FIFA did. I mean, there was a famous case in was it 1982 when like the king of Algeria walked onto the field and confronted the referee in the middle of the game over a call he didn't like. So yeah, the whole thing. I mean, it just bugs me because FIFA's corrupt as shit, and they always have been. And there's a well-known problem with VAR. I mean, because refereeing is always controversial. VAR was supposed to fix it because, like, hey, now we have video; it's all clear. Except it's not clear, and they're not at all consistent. And like, there's this whole thing where Egypt has lodged an official complaint against FIFA for the refereeing in their game against Argentina because they feel like that game was completely refereed inconsistently. Like, they feel like they had a goal chalked off that should have stood. They feel like they should have had a penalty, and they have a case in the sense that anybody can point at a similar situation and say, well, in that case, the referee did this, and I don't know. It annoys me because like soccer should be fun, but instead we're talking about Donald Trump and dumb FIFA shit.
There is a. It's
junior high schools, Risto. Junior high schoolers.
It's not female World Cup right now, right? They do it.
No, that's next year. That's 1 year later.
Yeah, it was 14-year-old boys, Risto.
Yeah, they weren't even in high school. They weren't even earning credit for that game.
The New York Times and a bunch of different places are doing these signalings of saying queer and gay is different again, which is kind of. And then we saw that a health minister in England come out and say that he no longer believes in the trans stuff.
Yeah, like his dumb political answer was a dumb political answer, but like and I understand the interviewer has to do her job, but also like, okay, let him go. Like he's saying the correct thing now. Let him have it.
Avert your eyes. I'm going to tie this back into.
Oh, geez.
Oh, God damn it.
The official criteria that LDS Family Services uses to screen licensed mental health providers before allowing them onto their referral list. And as a licensed clinician, I need to tell you that what is written in this email
As the fakest licensed clinician there ever was, a sex therapist.
isn't just deeply concerning, it's a massive violation of professional, medical, and therapeutic ethics. Let's look at the 3 criteria they require from therapists. The first requirement is actually reasonable. It says, the provider must counsel clients within the client's own values and not try to impose their own. Yes, absolutely. That is standard baseline therapeutic ethics.
You don't do
We
that,
call it client
Natasha.
autonomy. But watch how fast the institution completely contradicts itself and invalidates that exact rule with requirements 2 and 3. The second requirement says the provider must be aligned with the teachings of the First Presidency and Quorum of the 12 Apostles, and that they must never encourage people to leave the church. First of all, an ethical clinician would not encourage a client to either stay or leave.
Why bother holding up like a coffee cup into the screen for like the whole?
Because she drinks coffee.
That's a decision the client would make on their own, and therapy is a place where a person should be able to explore those options without judgment. Also,
I'm sure that you let people
many
explore their
clients come
belief
to us-
options without judgment.
Yeah,
I'm sure that you do that.
How does she still pretend to be butthurt that they kicked her out?
Yeah.
experiencing suicidal ideation.
If somebody comes to
severe
her
religious-
and she's like, "Hey, sex therapist, I am a faithful Mormon and I want to stay faithfully married. Can you please give me sex therapy that fits my faithful Mormonness? I'm filled with shame because God wants me to feel shame for having certain feelings. Can you help me with that?" Like she's not gonna stick to her rules and be like, "Okay, I'm gonna do it within your belief framework." Like, not a chance in hell. She's gonna say shame is bad. You need to stop feeling that you need to keep God's commandments and all that shit. I value bank
trauma
robbery.
or psychological abuse caused by their participation in the faith, and that client's own evolving
Oh.
values dictate that they need or want to leave the church. Those decisions should be supported by an affirming and trauma-informed therapist. This requirement is encouraging the
Like, there are a dozen different Reddit groups dedicated to like polyamory, and they are filled with people describing the psychological abuse they've experienced in polyamory. What are you going to do about that?
Chew you out if you mention or notice.
therapist to center the church instead of the client in treatment. And that is a direct conflict of interest, which is considered unethical practice by all ethical codes. But it gets worse.
All of
The
them,
third
huh?
requirement states that the provider must counsel in line with the Proclamation on the Family and explicitly states they cannot promote gender-affirming care or affirm any marriage other than that of a man and a woman. Complying with these standards would actually put a therapist in severe licensure jeopardy. The church is actively asking licensed mental health professionals to violate their own governing ethics codes. Every major psychological and medical association globally recognizes gender-affirming care.
No, they
as the
Do they know?
That's what I was like.
Do they know?
Listen, the whole
they
other
know.
thing to get to that moment, like you are.
Oh,
I know some of them still do, but no, it is not every one of them, and they're fast jumping off of that track, just like a.
And most of them that did started doing that in the last decade.
Well, and
Yeah.
they've just,
Oh,
they've just
and
gotten
all
so
over Europe. Yeah.
they've just gotten so used to using that retarded defense that like they didn't think of any actual other defenses, so now they just keep all the scientists say it.
It's science.
Ryan asked if I asked her to help convince my Chinese son that he's not really a girl. What would she say? She'd say she could lose her license if she didn't affirm it, and that everybody would lose their license if they didn't just affirm it.
Because she's
Even
gender
if you're-
critical. Is that correct?
Well, even if you're
Suggesting that you
transgender daughter, if your trans son went to Natasha Helfer and said, "I have gender dysphoria. I feel I'm born in the wrong body, but I don't want to be that way. I feel like I shouldn't be that way." What do you think she'd do? You think she'd be like, "Okay, let's help you to pretend you're not gender dysphoric"? Probably not.
This guy he's some sort of like health minister in England. Like he's got some high up position. And of course, I like how Adam Carolla framed this as like one of the things we got to watch over the past like 50 years is these people are 57 years old. And somewhere right in the middle of it, from like 55 to 57, they suddenly believed that boys could be girls and girls could be boys. And now they're jumping off that train. It was just like a weird little 35-month period of their life where they completely turned their belief.
Sidelined a junior minister and taken them off the puberty blocker trial because she's gender critical. Is that correct?
No.
So why has this minister been sidelined?
She has not.
Your own department has commented that you had planned to use a different person to spearhead this trial, and instead one of these junior ministers has been taken off it.
Let me tell you
and why are we having the puberty blocker trial anyway?
Let me tell you what my department told the Telegraph last night before they published this, which is that the responsibility for decision making on this rests with me, with the Secretary of State, and has done with my predecessor. As well. There has been no change to ministerial responsibilities. This policy area has always sat in the ministerial portfolio of Baroness Merrin, who's our Lord's Minister. It's always been in her portfolio. There has been no change to that arrangement.
But the minister who was involved with it is gender critical and would have raised safeguarding concerns. So she appears to have been sidelined.
No, I just said that decision making rests with me.
Right.
And in terms of where the policy area sits in ministerial portfolios, it's with Baroness Merrin. So it's with Baroness Merrin, who's a Lord's Minister.
But it suggests that there's a degree of dissent within the Department of Health over this puberty blocker trial. Why are you having it? The Cass review found that there were safeguarding concerns around children being put on puberty blockers. Is it because you are pro-trans?
But this is a really difficult issue, and there are lots of different sensitive views on it. And I found taking this decision difficult. I struggled with it. I felt uncomfortable and uneasy about this matter. But as Secretary of State for Health, my responsibility is to look at the clinical evidence, look at the clinical advice, and take the right decision. Now, in this case, Dr. Hilary Cass, who is widely respected from many sides of the debate, said that there is not enough clinical evidence to take a decision about how and whether puberty blockers should be used. She recommended getting further clinical evidence. That was her clinical advice. Get that clinical evidence so that the future of this matter can be settled on the basis
So we're just going to use children as guinea pigs?
No. So when I was taking this decision, when it came to me and I had to take a position on this, I took a far heightened level of scrutiny over this than I would any other trial, any other clinical trial, because it involves young people, it involves children. It's so important to get this right. So I asked for, as much evidence as I could on what are the safeguards, how robust are the safeguards, how will they work in practice, how will they make sure that if there's any indication of risk, action will be taken, there'll be automatic triggers to take children out of the trial. And it's only on the basis of that reassurance that I had that I decided, on balance, despite personally feeling quite uncomfortable and uneasy,
but you might
I decided the right thing on balance was to proceed.
You are quite pro-trans, aren't you? You've appeared in campaigns and things. I mean, do you think a woman can have a penis? Because you did previously. It's an important question for a health secretary to answer.
No, I don't.
So you've changed your mind?
Yes.
Why have you changed your mind?
Well, I think a lot of us have been thinking about this issue over recent years. And, I wouldn't now say that, for instance, trans women are women. I think that biological sex is important.
But you must have known that before. You're very well educated. You went to St. Paul's private school, I was reading this morning. How on earth could you have previously thought that a woman can have a penis?
Well, I think this is an issue that a lot of us have thought about in recent years. And I think there's a difference between sex and gender. I think that when it comes to sex, biology is what matters. And that's why...
Do you owe women who called for, who were gender critical and then were cancelled an apology?
Look, I don't think people should be cancelled. I think people should be allowed to have their views.
Stuff's changing. I looked it up on Grok. It says there are a couple organizations that would threaten your licensure, like the APA, which we already know that they're all crazy. They're the ones who say that basically all males are toxic. That's the one that, remember we pulled up that video a while back. They had but no, there's definitely different boards in different areas that it could actually even go the other direction, that if you're doing the general, critical care, that they could question your licensure.
Rizzo is asking about the yellow flag with a black circle. I think it's a purple circle. I'm pretty sure that's intersex, isn't it?
I don't know that one. The trial of this intersexy.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, that's intersex. Yeah. Why is he talking about collapsing?
I don't know, man. Jimmy Dore.
I swear I liked Jimmy Dore. Like
I kind of did too, but and also he's always got Kurt on there, and I still like Kurt. But man, he goes any sort of conspiratorial thing, and he just goes right off the full deep end of it. But
Alrighty, I should go before I get sucked into another thing. Even though I want to hear about Jimmy Dore being crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't opposing. I was just like looking at the case, but I mean, this case is all going down. I mean, but we've talked about earlier that Candace and those guys are still holding on to everything they possibly can, and as everything's coming out in the trial, it's not looking.
I'm still old enough to remember, like when people were like, because of the internet, because of cameras and the internet and the recording devices, there will never be questions about stuff ever again because we'll just know. It's like,
thank God.
So all the retarded shit just carries on. All righty, I'm gonna bail.
See ya
later. Yeah, I don't know how it was kind of wild to see the Lance Twiggs guy dressed up as a boy, not a cat in court, and he said that he recognized him in the videos. But then, of course, I saw this joke here of like Ian Carroll being like, where was it?
I bet it was really well thought out if it was Ian Carroll.
Oh, it's a joke on Ian Carroll.
I'm sorry, but I'm going to need to see a 4K video of Tyler Robinson actually thumbing these texts before I even begin to believe this. Jesus. Ian Carroll has to be like Fed placed, right?
Yeah, he totally always seemed like it. Just like the sudden rise of popularity out of nowhere, just talking about all that sorts of stuff, and it's always fishy. But I don't know. Candace is quadrupling down on all the stuff, and I think I have the maroon shirt.
Oh Christ! Yeah.
Video.
Charlie and what happened on September 10th struck me as highly unusual that there were so many men wearing maroon shirts. Like it's
That's so weird.
And there were a lot of men, all of whom were alone. And I just said to myself, this feels like organization to me. Like they're wearing maroon shirts to identify each other. I then learned from military men that when they do operations, they'll have a color of the day, which is a way for them to identify each other. And I believe that those boys that were wearing maroon shirts were all a part of the same
identifier.
And I have a tape of one person after the shot goes off bending down low and handing another guy a maroon shirt, which is even crazier. When I looked at the
okay, show, bitch.
Why would there be a uniform? We got to get in the uniform, and one that's like so obvious, and not just obvious, one that any other person could accidentally dress up like too. What if you just showed up to that Patriot Front Day and you had just chosen a white turtleneck on that day? Like, damn it! I have all sorts of maroon shirts. I could have showed up to that thing in a maroon shirt if I went to it. I
got a couple. God, she's so worthless. I don't know. Did you watch any of the pre-trial?
Yeah. I saw like all the extra videos and stuff, and the limping, and people there can't be a gun in there. And I've seen like other videos of people fitting like it could totally be a gun in there, and why would he be limping like that? And I think so far from what I've seen, it's impossible to come up with a conspiracy that does not also involve Tyler Robinson. You can be conspiratorial that something bigger happened with Tyler Robinson, But,
well, I mean, he turned himself in, so he would have to.
Yeah, but not the whole thing where Candace is like, this guy's a complete patsy and innocent. Like, you are nuts, lady. Like, the guy was part of it, if not all of it. But
It's these people. The more I hear Candace Owens, the more I just, out of spite, want to be like, you know what? We definitely it was definitely just Lee Harvey Oswald that killed JFK. That was it. So fuck you. I don't care.
I like this tweet about her though that Aaron McIntyre put out, which this is
okay. The brutal truth is that Candace is a divine judgment on the conservative movement. Oh yeah, they brought her in front of the left. From the left due to their obsession with the approval of the mainstream. They plastered her face everywhere because she was female. They elevated her rapidly because of their obsession with winning the black vote. They never cared about the quality or sincerity of her beliefs, just the boxes she ticked. I had a friend that when Candace Owens started to kind of rise, he was like a big Dennis Prager fan, and he was like, "Dude, I can't like Dennis Prager anymore because he hired her. She's just not good." And,
Yeah.
um,
I felt that about it. I was shocked Daily Wire hired her back in
Yeah.
the day. I didn't have any major problems with her back in the day, but just like we all did before she went nuts, we always were like, she's dumb. She's
Yeah.
dumb. She's not, you know.
she's just an architect of chaos. They never cared about every terrible tendency of conservatives who bow and scrap for approval, who beg to stop being called racist or sexist, who will hand the keys of the kingdom to a stranger before elevating their own, who outsource their voice to whatever DEI hire focus test best with people who will never vote for them. It's all present in Owens. Her behavior is terrible, but guess what? Conservatives absolutely earn this, and the plan is to learn nothing and repeat this pattern and then get outraged at the results. This post is not about Steve, who is great and has said most of this himself. Who's Steve?
I don't know what that's about. It was whoever he's quote tweeting the thing about it underneath it. But I mean, I think that's just totally true. There's some sort of sense of it of like, Charlie, like, did you bring that demon like on yourself, running around with her, you know, like all those years? Like, should you have known or looked to avoid that piece of crap that whole time and all the way through? And the Daily Wire is like, you guys brought that into like, right when it first happened. We were like, why would you do that? I don't think that's such a good idea. Aligning with that.
I don't even think for the Daily Wire it was ticking boxes. I think it was just they knew she would be big, and they were right. She was very big.
She drive views. She drive looks and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I mean, there's some sort of thing like you guys played with that scorpion, and you got it. But I don't know. I don't know why anybody like ever got like crazy into her, thought that she was like a good choice for anything. But man, she can say stuff that just drives me nuts. They're dumb. And on the flip end of it, like almost anybody else who just kind of runs along with it. There's been all this stuff like Tim Pool's been going after Clint Russell for Clint Russell jumping in on all this stuff, and Dave Smith, just, you know, those guys just gobble anything up. That like you can say those are some of the guys who have some of the best arguments about problems with Israel. And then you guys jump up, you won't do anything about saying, I don't know about the Candace stuff. Like even Nick Fuentes dares to. Like, what is wrong with you guys?
I know, and they fucking the whole argument they use is there's nothing wrong. Like, you guys just think there's something wrong with asking questions about Charlie Kirk. No, it's not that. I think there's something wrong with coming up with retarded theories that you probably know are bullshit. Like blaming the Mormons, blaming. Yeah. I don't know.
It's pretty unreal, and I think if people are actually critical of Israel, it's unhelpful for that. You know, like you're bringing in something that's actually bringing down whatever your criticisms are to some level of total retardation. But anyway, we'll see how that thing goes. I think he's going to plead out. What do you think?
If he gets a chance, I bet he will. There was just one thing that made me think that, because my assumption is the second he fired that bullet, he was like, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck. Not so much that he regretted killing a guy, but like he suddenly realized what the consequences are. Because, well, I guess after that he did text, I just had enough of his hate or whatever. But apparently, according to the tranny boyfriend, when he got home, he was like pacing and freaking out and saying he wishes he didn't do it. And that's just, it's not because he thinks he did something terrible. It's more because he knows his life is over. And so it's not, I don't think he's going to stand on ideological principle and reject the plea. I think if they give him a plea, he'll take it. I don't know why they would give him a plea other than that.
Who's this?
Hello.
Howdy.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. I saw the link, so I clicked it.
Oh, nice. Who are you?
I'm Ryan Wimmer.
Oh, it's Ryan.
Ryan. What's up, man?
Oh, yeah, he's been on here.
Didn't recognize you there.
I was fuck, did the Catholic guy come on? I don't want to talk about Catholicism.
Yeah, I was like, did he put his name over into something? Or?
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, I guess we can talk Catholicism. If
I
you
don't.
really
I honestly don't know that much about Catholicism, truthfully. But I mean, I listen to enough of it. But sometimes when I like listen to Jay Dyer and Rules for Renegade talk about whatever 17th century, 18th century thing, I'm like, this is so much more than even like Mormonism. I just can't even like start to keep up with any of it. So
you got a son on a mission right now?
Me? No,
Yeah.
no.
Oh, I thought you did.
No, I had a son who was thinking of going. He is 18, but I don't know, he's got a girlfriend.
That'll do it. That'll do it. Must be thinking of
Yeah.
someone else.
But it would actually be kind of good if he would. I mean, as long as I'm not paying for it.
I had to pay for my mission. It was bullshit.
You did? I worked for a couple years and all my money went to it, but I don't think it got anywhere close.
It didn't cover everything, but my mom kept. My mom just like took all of my fucking paychecks.
Nice. Oh, look, Catholicism is cool as back.
Hello, Goofus.
There's so what's been going on with you, Ryan?
Oh, well, lots of fun. I have been trolling. I don't know. Have you guys seen some of Rebecca Biblioteca's posts lately?
Her posts? No, I never really watch her normal stuff, but I see her every week on the Mormon newscast or whatever, because they always constantly have her on there. And I never watch her specific channel. Every once in a while, there's a subject that interests me, and I won't click on it because I'm like, I don't really want to listen to it from her. You know what I mean? But she focuses so much on the temple stuff, and boy, howdy, does that bore me.
I don't know how you could do that. I love how Nemo made that his hill to die on. Like he flies all the way to America. This is atrocious.
Well, you should see what her new big scandal is. It's the Big 12 worked out I don't know, some endorsement deal with Monster drinks.
Really?
BYU's in the Big 12. And so, they're going to be wearing, Monster logos and that. And so, I mean,
so it's got the
big Mormon
666 on it?
scandal. I mean, how dare BYU do that?
Is she going to the level of saying
Monster drinks, caffeine?
No, but have you ever seen that thing of the people claim Monster drinks are satanic or something like that? She's not going off of that, is she?
Why can I?
Can you hear us?
Something's going on. I can't hear you.
Oh,
Can you hear
lost-
me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay. I couldn't hear you for a second.
You've never seen the thing of like Monster drinks have like the sign of the devil on it?
Anyway, yeah, so
Bottoms up and the devil laughs. That was one of my favorite videos.
So why is it bad that Mormons are aligned with Monster drinks?
Caffeine.
Oh,
yes.
I forget about that. As if they all don't.
I
drink much of
can't
them.
hear Jacob. I can hear you.
Can you hear me? Check.
Hello.
Hear me?
Hmm.
I don't think he hears us.
Yeah.
Does he hear you, Jared?
And he said he couldn't hear me. Want to know something funny? So did you see my name?
What is it? Han asshole solo?
Han asshole solo.
Remember? Do you know what that's in reference to?
I don't.
Today, or this week, is the 9-year anniversary of the Reddit troll who made that. What was it? The clip of Trump when he went to WWE or whatever it was and was beating the shit out of someone, and he just superimposed CNN over the person's face like Trump was beating the shit out of CNN. And CNN tracked him down, threatened to dox him, made him apologize and take down all of his posts, and then came out with an article stating like, we decided not to dox him because that would be bad, but if he chooses to resume his bigoted ways, we reserve the right to dox him. So it's like just a completely non-veiled threat, and his Reddit handle was Han asshole solo.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
That was the most wild thing in the world. Can you hear me, Ryan? I don't think Ryan can hear me for some reason. Ryan can't hear me, but I couldn't believe that there was another one where it was like Trump dunking on people, and it was a basketball thing, and the guy got doxxed and in trouble for that one. It's such a dumb thing because ever since the advent of AI stuff, people make whatever video, people doing whatever crazy stuff. But just that many years ago, just putting names over somebody on a wrestling meme or on a basketball dunking meme, and people were acting like it was worth kicking people off of social media entirely for.
Well, they tried to claim it was threatening violence, which is wild because that was in 2017, and by 2017, when that stupid clip came out, I mean, Kathy Griffin had already posed with like Trump's bloodied head in her hand and showing. Okay, come on, can you hear Chris, Ryan? I don't think.
No, I can only hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, I wonder what that is. What if I turn it up? Do you hear it now? No, he's got nothing. That's weird.
That is weird.
Can you hear it?
I can hear both of you. Yeah.
That's wild. Yeah, and I hear him.
Yeah. So he's showing you this this thing. Did you ever see that video of the lady connecting Monster Energy drink to 666 and the devil?
I've got it on the screen. I've got it on the screen.
Yeah. No, I'm saying it to Ryan because he can't hear you. So, it was a pretty good video, and it's probably like 15 years old at this point. And it was like, I don't remember, was it the Hebraic? Yeah, it was the Hebraic letters and numbers. And if you tip the monster thing upside down, it looks kind of like the number 6 in the Hebrew alphabet, I guess. And it's the mark of the beast. And it's funny because she finishes her presentation by tipping it up to drink and showing it upside down. She goes, her tagline, bottoms up and the devil laughs. And
Oh yeah.
I got a kick out of that.
That's total Satanism right there.
Oh yeah.
So ask Ryan if he's done any trolling on those posts about the monster drink.
Oh yeah,
and I'll listen. I'll run to the restroom while you guys.
Okay. You've been doing any? So have you done trolling on Rebecca's monster posts?
I finally, I got tired of responding to people, so I actually deleted my troll.
Wow.
So I sometimes I'm like, I'm done responding. I can't do this all day.
Oh yeah, you piss some certain people off, they'll go weeks when the same comment thread.
Yeah, I mean, I have a government job, so I got plenty of time.
Hey, me too.
But
tons of time. No, it's funny because so her main issue with it is like they're being hypocritical because it has caffeine.
Yeah, and
did she not get the memo? The more chill with caffeine.
She had some fake like conference talk. Oh, you can drink Monster, but not coffee. Just for fun. But
yeah.
But I don't know. It's just how much I don't know. I mean, like it's a big scandal or something. I mean, you would if they didn't, let's say BYU held back, then the complaint would be that they're being petty and not taking it. They're making the Big 12 look bad or something.
As I win, tails you lose.
Yeah.
We were talking in the chat earlier about what was it? Flip was talking about how he'll argue with sort of the ex-Mormon types, saying that there's racism in Mormon scripture. They avow racism, and Flip goes, yeah, but they don't do the racism anymore. Like they don't believe in that stuff. And they're like, but it's in their scripture. And at some point, you realize if you're trying to point out the hypocrisy, that you're kind of just getting angry that the Mormons aren't racist anymore.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Even if it sounds kind of dumb, even if it sounds kind of hypocritical or whatever, it came to a conclusion that you like. And that's, I don't know. I get the point in like pointing out it's weird that you have a health code that excludes you from drinking coffee, which if you drink it black and in moderation, it's actually fairly good for you, but it doesn't preclude you from drinking soda and Monster or whatever. But I don't know. I don't care that much. And I know that there's been like apostles in the past who have said, don't drink caffeine. And that's why a lot of people thought the reason for coffee was caffeine. And then eventually they're like, nah, you can drink caffeine. It's just coffee. There's no special thing. It's just coffee.
Yeah. But, my son, he was baptized like a year and a half ago.
And, that's what it was. I saw you post that. I thought you post something about him being on a mission.
No, he was baptized about a year and a half ago. I'm pretty sure the cute sister missionaries had a little bit to do with that.
Well,
But
he's lucky they have cute ones now. When I was on my mission, I tell you what.
oh, I mean, I know, but he's kind of funny. Like if you said, because he was kind of raised by me, he wouldn't even care. Oh, Monster coffee, whatever. It's kind of stupid, but I don't care. They believe what they believe. He just likes the camaraderie. Like,
yeah,
he could care less about, where the Book of Mormon took place or if it even took place. So it's kind of interesting to see his version of being a Mormon.
That's my version of being theist. People will be like, "Why do you believe in God?" I'm like, "Because I fucking want to." that's my reason. That's it. I don't have anything beyond that. It's nothing big.
We got Catholicism Cool, who says that we are like typical Gen Xers, elder millennial coded ex-Mormon secularists, and that's what we talk about. But Starbase is saying that I mean, he's a Johnny come lately. Like, we run out of subject. The subject of the week is Cardin Jacob talking about those weird things, which are kind of just denying the stuff that we actually think is cool about Mormonism. So in a weird way, we're saying stick to your guns, Mormonism. Like, just stick to the stuff that's best about you. But the flip end of that is 90% of what this channel has talked about is how goofy ex-Mormons get.
Oh yeah,
and that's who and what we are.
I mean, we're clowning on the Mormon Church right now a little bit more, but generally speaking, we're more defensive of it than anything. We'll say when it's being fucking stupid, but I think what was it, your first video in here, Chris? It was like "Stay Mormon,"
yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, I mean, and part of that was also talking to the Mormons. Like, Mormons, keep your Mormon, like, use the word Mormon, keep the Mormon, like, stay Mormon, stay believing that man once was God and could become God again, because that is a cool belief.
Yeah, own your weird.
own your weird, own your name, own all that sorts of stuff. And then, like, the other side of it too is like ex-Mormons, if you're going to just become Redditors, don't. Stay Mormon, you know what I mean? And because we got fed up with the whole ex-Mormon world way more than anything else.
Yeah, they're easy to get fed up with.
Yeah. Can you hear me yet, Ryan? Or are you still dark with me?
Yeah, I don't think you can hear
you. Can't hear me.
No.
maybe if he went out and back in, he'd be able to hear me again or something.
I don't know. Maybe try going out and back in, Ryan. Maybe that'll help you hear Chris.
Let me try to see what is.
How odd.
Mighty strange.
There we go. We found some camaraderie. Ex-Mormons are very toxic. Except don't use that word. Toxic is a low T word. Come on. If you fucking squat 500, you can't be using the word toxic.
Yeah, our main subject of critique for years was more the ex-Mormon types.
Yeah, generally speaking, I like the Mormons more than I like the ex-Mormons.
And this is the thing is too, is like talking about like criticism of Catholicism or Israel or Mormon or Jews. It's almost kind of from the same angle as like the Mormons. Like, you have some critiques, but overall we generally, if like some religion is pro-social, pro-natal, pro-society, whatever, we're far more on the side of that thing than not on the side of it.
Oh yeah, pronatalism is my first religion. Says at my parish, we have dozens of ex-Mormon converts. They're great. I live in Mormon country, so it's a pipeline of Mormons in my parish. Yeah, we clown on ex-Mormons because the ones that you hear most from, the loudest ones on the internet, are just the most insufferable people. They're the Reddit atheist types. They're obnoxious. They read the God Delusion, and then now they're smarter than everyone.
Yeah. Or like this guy who's trying to live forever and ever.
I love that so much. Vegan, takes mushrooms, drinks electrolytes, developed an autoimmune disease at 48 years old. Old Italian man, eats meat, smokes cigarettes, drinks wine, healthy and strong at 80 years old. That's what there was
asked if his priest would be okay with their chats. Ryan, are you there? Ryan's popped back in, but can you hear us now, Ryan?
Well, his screen never popped out, so I don't know what happened.
So it just like went off. Maybe I'll just take that out.
Yeah.
I'll
He
wait
might
to see.
pop back on.
Ryan, if you're out there, like pop back in. You couldn't hear me, but it'd be cool to keep talking with you if we can hear you, or you can hear me because I could hear you the whole time. Jackson was on one all week. Put a whole thing about Mormons need to do oath of vengeances and take their oaths of vengeances against the nation, I guess, for all these different left-wing folk heroes.
Was he trying to? Oh. I do covenant and promise that I will pray and never cease to pray, Almighty God, to avenge the blood of Renee Good upon. Get fucked. Jesus Christ. God, that guy. Oh, man.
You there, Ryan?
The gayest man on earth would take a cock out of his mouth to tell
I see.
Jackson to shut the fuck up.
He's popped down below on a different screen. There you are. Now do you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Ah, sweet.
Nice.
Did you see this? I don't know if you're on the thing. Jackson Washburn, who's kind of like the residential lefty Mormon. I don't know, talking about taking out the Mormons should take out an oath of vengeance, but take it out against anybody or the nation for having come down on any sort of a lefty icon. Renee Good, Oscar Romero, Fred Hampton, Alex Pretty, Viola Luzo. I looked up some of these people up because I don't even know them. They're all just people who supposedly got killed one way or another. But
so far,
Sitting Bull, I know. Have you ever looked into like the real history of John Brown?
No.
No, I have not.
So you know he's like famous for kind of like helping start the Revolutionary War because he was like he was actually a very religious abolitionist.
Yeah, he attacked
Harper's Ferry and Pontotomawan thing. If you go and look it up, during those things, he killed all sorts of civilians and children in the attack.
Yeah, I do know a little bit about that, not a lot, but
Just like any sort of like nutty Antifa like type member who just like sprays and kills everything around him. And not just killed them, he hacked them up with machetes.
Jesus.
Yeah, he was a psychopath. He was a nutball. And people are like, well, he went after some people who were pro slavery. Yeah, but he took out like a bunch of other civilians too and children.
All your heroes were bastards, and the ones that weren't bastards were psychopaths.
No. And Jackson just forever pushing the. I mean, I guess he feels the Mormon Church should just become the Democrat Socialists of America, is what it is.
Did you ever watch the movie or the show Death Note? Probably not. It's an anime.
Oh no, I watched the anime.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. I tried to watch the live action and saw quickly, as most people said, that it was balls.
Oh, I knew it was going to be balls. That's the whole reason I watched it. Except for Willem Dafoe voicing Ryu. That's perfect.
Yeah.
But no, so Death Note, Ryan, you probably haven't seen it. The whole concept is a Japanese Shinigami, god of death, basically drops his book from the heavens, and this high school kid picks it up. And the thing is, you can write a person's first and last name in the book, and they'll die, basically. So this is what Jackson Washburn is trying to do.
He wishes he would be that person that he could just have a book and write in it, and somebody died.
I would do the right thing. Did I tell you at work the other day we were talking about, like, somebody was talking about how Putin's a piece of shit, and one of the other guys was like, yeah, it's just what dictators do. And I jokingly, obviously, I was like, I wouldn't. If I were the dictator of Russia, I would set my nation free, and I would treat everyone with respect and love. I know I would do the right thing instead of hoarding the power for myself. And then the lefty chick goes, so you'd be like a communist? Is that what did I say about class warfare? When did I mention slaughtering farmers or seizing the means of production? No, I said I'd be nice to people, and it was a joke, by the way. You think communism is just being nice to people? That's the rule. Just das Kapital, be nice to people. Great reading there, friend.
John Brown was Civil War, not Revolutionary War. Thanks, ass. Like I wasn't just like speaking and misspoke. I was talking about kickstarting the slavery thing. Spurg. Those guys.
Did you see his Washburn. It was around June 1st when, Pride Month was starting, and he was talking about his something about how his dream of Joseph Smith would walk in to party because he's a bisexual.
Yeah.
It was really
He
weird.
had a daydream that he was like an omnisexual, whatever. Just
Yeah, and I ended up deleting it because I thought maybe it was a little too mean. But I said no, I never really think about whether or not Joseph Smith wanted to suck dick or not.
That's not too mean.
It'd
If
just be
anything,
so
it's
much
not mean
better
enough.
if you did. Do you
No,
want?
there's a book, I can't remember the exact name of it. I have it on Audible. It's like Queer History or something like that, where essentially they just go through historical figures, nonfiction and fictional heroes, and explain to you why they were actually gay. And they're not even like joking around. It's like Achilles. They'll try to claim that Achilles was gay. And why was Achilles gay? Well, because remember that time
He was extra sad when his cousin died.
yeah, I
I've
remember
heard
when
that one.
his best buddy was killed, and he was like really, really sad. He was really, really sad. And I was like, yeah, you know what? You're right. My brother, his best friend was killed last week. And when he cried, I was like, fag. Wait, were you boning him or something? Holy shit.
Speaking of going back to your animes, have I ever gone on my rant about what animes live and die by the autistic kid? Because they're so sweet, because the premises of all of them, they actually let like a young kid who does art run with them. You know what I mean? They let somebody who comes up with the idea, the concept, the drawing, and some sort of thing. It really is like what we complain happened to the comics here in the West, that it used to be those like guys who spent 18 hours a day writing comics in the room to make stuff better and to make stuff cool and to draw pictures really well. And after 10 years of doing that, they'd get their own comic and it'd be something really deep and intense and all that sorts of stuff. I think it's the same thing with the Japanese kids, but when they die by it, like they always come up with an awesome concept like Death Note or something like that. But by the end of the anime, it always turns into, well, I knew all along you were the guy. And the other, well, I knew all along that you knew all along that I was the guy. Well, I knew that you knew that I knew that I knew that you knew you're all this guy. And they always try to come up with these twists by the end of it. And so it's like the premise and the art of it is always brought to you by the autistic kid. And then the ending of it dies by the autistic kid because it comes.
The longer the anime runs, the worse it is. Because like Yu Yu Hakusho is one of the most 90s animes ever, and it's really, really good. But it starts out with like, you're not special, you're just an asshole who did one nice thing, so we're gonna give you another chance. And any special you gain is because you gained it. You weren't born with anything. And then by the end of it, you're like, actually, you're the son of the Demon King incarnate, and you're super, super special. Same thing happened with fucking Naruto, Bleach, I think. I don't know. I never watched all of Bleach, but
Hey, Ryan, I saw you saw Masters of the Universe. You said it was good?
Yes. If you didn't go, it bombed at the box office, so I'm blaming
Yeah.
on you for not seeing it.
The problem, I'd never go to the movies at all anymore, but I will buy it while it's still in theaters. Like buy it on, because I just saw last night. Well, no, you can't buy it yet, but as soon as it's like purchasable while in theaters, I will do that.
Well,
But-
see, I'm a crazy fan. I don't know if you can see behind me.
Oh, sweet. I was just watching the old one last night, the Dolph Lundgren one.
Oh yeah, yeah. I remember my dad took me to that when I was, I think I was 10, maybe 9.
I loved He-Man. I was a big He-Man guy. I blame my body dysmorphia more on He-Man than on Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I probably would have liked it if I had cable. We never had cable, so
The only thing when I went back to it years later is Skeletor's voice, man. Skeletor's voice. When I was a kid, it did not bug me. When I got older, I was like, whoa.
no, it bothered. So the only times I ever saw He-Man is when we went to my grandma's house and she had cable and we'd watch whatever was on. And sometimes it was He-Man, and I was like, this is pretty cool. And I'd be like, He-Man. I was like, nobody with chiseled abs and a skull face should sound like that.
Yeah, I guess if they just
So,
like made
I
him
know-
a twink, it would have made.
I know a lot of it, but then again, I wasn't like a fan because a lot of the fans were kind of annoyed with Jared Leto's weird voice that he did for Skeletor.
Did he do that voice?
No.
No.
He did like a really deep voice. It sounded.
I think that would be like the one.
I like that better for Skeletor,
Yeah.
but I know a lot of the fans were like, I wanted his voice. I'm like, well,
No, I saw. I mean, I went to a. I mean, I really nerd out over this one thing. Okay, so I went to a conference, and the guy who voiced Skeletor back in the 80s.
Oh, I know that he
speaking
was
there.
a big voice guy. I know he did like 800 different voices, right?
Yeah.
So that's of course landing on one. That's probably just like what he did for the day, and like, okay, stick with that one. But
well, he
yeah,
did about
I know
4
he was.
different characters in that show.
Yeah, I've seen video of him doing voices and stuff, so I don't blame the guy. I view him kind of more like who was the Looney Tunes dude who did every single voice.
Oh, Mel Blanc.
Yeah, that guy did like almost every show in the 80s. He was doing.
Okay, but that dude was so fucking cool.
Do you remember his name? The Skeletor voice guy was cool too. He does so many.
Alan Oppenheimer. You know, Mel
Yeah,
Blanc is the one you're thinking of. Mel Blanc did the voice of Barney Rubble. He got into a terrible car crash, and he voiced some Flintstones episode or some Bugs Bunny episode. Like he did a bunch of voice acting from his hospital bed where he was bedridden. He was fucking cool.
Well, apparently he did the weird voice apparently because they didn't want the Skeletor to scare kids, so they had to do the goofy voice to make him unintimidating.
That totally makes sense, especially for like the era and all that sort of stuff. I did not even notice his voice as a kid when I loved it. Like I didn't even think anything of it. I mean, I guess that's the difference between like kids and adults, right?
He was,
and then when I was an adult, I was like, "What is that voice? Oh my gosh!" Yeah.
He was Falcor and Gamork in.
He was Falcor.
Yeah.
Betrayal.
Dr. Rudy Wells in $6 Million Man. Vanity Smurf in the Smurfs, and several Transformers characters. He was definitely He was definitely Starscream in the. I'll bet you anything. Let's see, Transformers. No, he wasn't He was Beachcomber, Breakdown, Sea Spray, and Warpath. Flash Gordon, Emperor Ming the Merciless. Live action. He was in Westworld. Oh, in 1973. He was in Star Trek. He played a Klingon in The Next Generation. Huh.
I know. I can think of his face. Like I know what his face looks like. I've seen enough like different little clips of him and that sort of stuff.
You're talking about Alan Oppenheimer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He also voiced Colonel Troutman in a Rambo cartoon that almost everyone's forgotten existed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever saw that one. Was it in the same era?
Yeah, it was around 85, 86. Because when the second Rambo movie came out, that was kind of kicked off the action movie genre, and they made a Rambo cartoon.
I'm gonna see if I just like recognize it at all, because I mean, it kind of looks like G.I. Joey. So I might have just mixed it with G.I. Joe if I was watching the time, because I was watching everything around the time. But
dude, did you play any games, Ryan?
Games
like video games?
I wasn't a big video game guy. I mean, we had an Atari 2600.
Wow.
And then I bought a Sega.
We had a Sega Genesis.
Yeah, I got a Sega Genesis when I was a teenager. That was really the last video game system.
Me and my dad still play was it Super Contra? I can't remember which Contra game it was on Genesis.
Oh, I love Super
Contra. Yeah.
That one was awesome. We still play that sometimes when we hang out. Plattner's campaign to unseat GOP. Susan Collins was marked by repeated scandals. Fuck Graham Plattner.
Matt Dillahunty. Yeah, Plattner dropped out. Yeah, there's Matt Dillahunty. He finally dares to say something about Plattner as soon as a kind of unfounded sexual harassment claim comes
the
out.
Totenkopf
They wouldn't say anything about the Nazi tattoo.
Yeah, the Totenkopf tattoo wasn't enough for Matt Dillahunty. Where I bet you could find Matt Dillahunty calling Elon Musk a Nazi for doing that one time. But that fucking tattoo in East Europe too. That's the thing. Like look, if he was like, it was a stupid joke, I probably shouldn't have done it. That's dumb. Sorry. But he's like, I didn't know it was a Nazi thing. I was like, how difficult would it be to get a Nazi tattoo in Europe. Like it's probably illegal to get a Nazi tattoo in Europe. So you'd have to find a really special place to go. I don't know. So
yeah, it's so goofy. It's so goofy that they ran with that as long as they did. And
so you're kind of doubting the Graham Plattner rape allegation?
did you listen to all of it?
So I listened to a little bit of it.
No, I'm not doubting that they did the thing. I'm just doubting that you really call that kind of a rape. I mean, she let him in the house. They slept in the bed together like all night. You know, she let him back multiple times. She didn't say anything about it for years. And a little bit of it is kind of recovered memory type stuff. It's just kind of like typical Me Too-y stuff to bring up. But I don't think it's crazy that thing is the thing that put Democrats over to kick him out and not all the other stuff about him. You know, but
well, there was several other. I don't know. So the thing,
there was other women who said that all along, but the one that set them off
is the progressive
woman, and the claim was ultimately he came over to the house kind of drunk. And I saw somebody posit it this way: well, the way people talk about consent nowadays, maybe she raped him because he was the one who was blackout drunk. You know?
Well, so
yeah, that's true.
The thing that gets me is one of the only kind of contemporary pieces of evidence for it is that a friend of a friend knew she dated him and was interested in dating.
Oh no, I think they had sex, all that sort of stuff. What I'm talking about is what she described.
No. I know that. I'm saying there was a friend of a friend who was interested in dating Graham Plattner, and she knew that this woman had dated him before, and she's like, should my friend go out with him? And I like it's if she thought of it as like actual like breaking an entry brutal rape, she'd be like, no, stay the fuck away. But she did respond with, he's consensually challenged. Is what she said. And I'm like, well, that's weird. That's
the thing. Like, I kind of believe it happened how she believed it. Just she wasn't really upset. You know, like some of it she kind of describes like a recovered memory.
Yeah, I know.
She's recovered memory that decided it was kind of that sort of thing. And in no way am I defending Plattner. I'm just saying that it's ridiculous that is the thing that they finally go, oh, okay, we'll get him out of here with this. Have you ever seen the stuff about, you know, he's talking like he's all working class commie and all that sorts of deal, that how not working class he is? Have you seen any of that?
Yep.
He's got like
wait, what did they say he was? A fisher? A farmer?
An oyster farmer.
Yeah.
But he has one client, and the client is his mother's multiple fine dining restaurants. He says he grew up. And he'd only ever been around hard workers and all that sorts of stuff. He went to a private school all the way through elementary school and everything. It was like $70,000 a year. His great grandfather was like a multi-millionaire architect. His dad was like the district attorney and all that sorts of stuff. And they gave him like a $200,000 house when he, you know.
They just don't get it. They don't get it because all the normal working class person really sees in these people who rave against the oligarchs is the people who have fuck you money railing against the people that have even more fuck you money.
I mean, that's what it is.
Kind of the same. To me, $100 million or $100 billion is kind of the same. Both of them, like obviously $100 billion is way more than $100 million. But to me, both of those amounts just mean that I never have to work again. And my kids never have to work again.
Yeah, that's how you think about it. A lot of these people, what they say is they're downwardly mobile, like kids of those former millionaires. So they're kids who like grew up with like these trust fund mega rich parents, and they still had the belief that they should launch into the Elon stratosphere because they're so smart or whatever. And then that didn't happen because they went to school for gender whatever.
And then they pretend that Elon Musk is stupid. That's one of the.
And then they joined some NGO, and they were only making $200,000 a year for their fake NGO that did nothing but.
That's like one of the criticisms of Trump that I can't. Like I always just shit on people when people say that he's stupid. I'm like, no, he's not stupid. He's impulsive. He's a dick. He's petty. He's a lot of shitty things. He's not stupid. Elon Musk is weird and autistic. He's not a great father. His method of having children is shitty. He keeps fucking stupid bitches. And not saying I would do any better in his situation, but he does a lot of shitty things. He's not stupid. Like he can't be stupid. And people always like, oh, Trump, he had a small loan of $400,000 to start his first thing. Okay, but that's a lot. I'll grant you that. But if somebody gave me $400,000, you know what I'd do? I'd be smart. I'd pay off my house and then put it all into stocks. And over the course of 60 years, it might turn into a couple $1 million, you know?
Yeah, I always get
turning
crazy impressed with people who got like a little bit of money and turned it into
you-
way, way, way more.
You turn $400,000 into billionaire status. You're not stupid.
Mhm.
You're good
No.
at something.
And Elon Musk was pounding Amber Heard, so hey, you know.
That is pretty stupid.
That was something to be jealous about until
Until she
you
went
heard about her
weird,
taking
yeah.
dumps on Johnny Depp.
Right.
She is very hot.
Yeah, she is.
And so I can't say that in his situation. With hindsight, absolutely. If I
Right.
know how crazy she is. I mean, nope. I'm fucking out.
I like this quote by Rob Henderson. This is commenting on the thing of seeing like how rich all these different guys are, which Mom Donnie is also another one of them. Victor Davis Hanson will keep pointing out, like he comes from the colonial class of Uganda. Like his parents were the ones who went there to colonize that country. You know, they were the 1%ers who went there and, you know, took all the Africans there, and in certain ways they could say colonializers enslaved them to give them a bunch of money so then they could come over here and come here as immigrants and pretend like they're put upon little rappers. What was he for his 20s? A rapper?
Yeah, he was a rapper briefly.
Robert Henderson says, remember Henderson's dictum: fascists are proles who cosplay as aristocrats, and communists are aristocrats who cosplay as proles.
Wait a minute. Wait. Hang on. I want to see that again. Fascists are proles who cosplay as aristocrats, and communists are aristocrats who cosplay as proles. Damn. I'm gonna have to think about the first part. The second part is spot on for sure.
I think the fascist one, if you get somebody who's like really, really
No,
into
I'm
they're all
thinking about it. I
yes,
think
I
you're
am
right.
a high aristocrat, high living, high. We
Yeah.
only expect the highest of the high and type deal in there. You know.
Huh. All right.
Police women after sex arresting victims of assault instead of the perpetrators. Did you listen to Mom Donnie's speech for behind George Washington's desk?
Too many of our leaders do not believe in a vision of this nation as an asylum for the persecuted, but rather as one that persecutes those.
4th of July.
As we mark 250 years,
4th of July.
what do we see?
4th of
We see a
July.
city of contradictions within a nation of contradictions. We see the wealthiest country in the history of the world, one where children go to sleep hungry, while the world's first trillionaire hungers
Nobody's
for
hungry.
more.
Nobody's hungry.
We see
Nobody's
monopolies
Nobody.
dominate every industry.
Hey, I'm feeling patriotic.
Well, I
here.
know you're feeling patriotic. I'm just saying, we talk about this almost every week. Our impoverished, air quotes, are morbidly obese. Many people who go hungry in this nation are people who do it on purpose, or children whose parents are pieces of shit. The children, those are the ones I feel bad for. But people on food stamps are fat, and they have smartphones.
Did you see Spencer Pratt's response to it?
Oh, maybe. I thought I did.
This? Oh, why is that not? This one?
No, I didn't.
We all had to sit and watch that vile commie mayor sit on the wrong side of our founding fathers' desk to try and lecture us about our own history. Notice how the communist always attacks your history. The communist must attack your history. Why? Because history is what anchors you. It's what makes us attached to something. Nostalgia is a hell of a drug. History breeds an almost irrational attachment to things, an attachment that is more powerful than anyone can imagine. Erasing history is how you demoralize people, how you unmoor them and detach them from their society so you can take it from them and rewrite it in your image. Think of your country like a home. What makes your home special? It's not the marble countertops or the expensive furniture or the fancy appliances. It's the memories you have there. That backyard is where we got married. That living room rug is where our son took his first step. Hey, don't touch that. That was his first teddy bear. It doesn't matter how torn and tattered that thing is. You will never get rid of it. And you will fight anyone who tries to take it away. Why? Because you have history with it. You ever buy a new home? Remember those first few months? Even the first few years there, it doesn't feel like home. It could be a million times nicer than the crappy apartment you came from, but it doesn't feel like home for a long time because you don't have history there. It's easy to knock down some walls, change the floor plan. If you have no memories to attach you to it, it's just wood and drywall. Who cares? Get rid of it. Memories make it a home, even the bad ones. Hey, remember when Dad hit his head on the rafter in the attic and we spent all night in the ER? That's the avocado tree I fell out of and broke my first bone. Isn't it weird how even the bad memories make us cherish a place? It's not like we long for those bad times, but bad times are part of what makes us stronger, a part of what makes us who we are. How can you resent those memories without fundamentally resenting who you are? History is so important to humans that even bad memories anchor us to our home. And that's what the communist always starts with, the bad memories. Oh, we could get rid of that little story. We can knock down that statue. We can change the name of that street. That's a bad memory from our history. You don't want that memory hanging around. You're not a bigot, right? And slowly but surely, this wall comes down. Then that wall gets sledgehammered. The rafter where Dad hit his head, that's gone. The rug where your son took his first step, that's gone. The gash in the wood floor where you stomped the glass on your wedding ceremony, that's gone and replaced with shiny vinyl planks. And now you've got a brand new home with no memories. Now what? Do you care what they do with it? Do you care what color they paint the walls? Nah. Do whatever you want. I don't care. I have no attachment to it. I have no memories with that. You love your home because of the memories you have there. And that's why the communist always must destroy your memories, destroy your history. If the communist wishes to take your home, he must first destroy your memory of it so he can erase your attachment to it and demoralize you. Mao destroyed what he called the four olds: old ideas, old culture, old customs, and old habits. If you call them olds, it makes them sound bad. You don't want that old thing. Get rid of it. But it is fundamentally human nature to cherish your history. We crave learning about our history, where we came from, who our ancestors were. That's human. But communism is an evil, anti-human religion, so it must destroy what makes us human. The communist destroys your history so he can take your home and rebuild it in his image. That's why it's your patriotic duty to celebrate today unashamed. It's okay to love America. Not only is it okay to love America, it's necessary to love America. We are the only bulwark against tyranny on this earth. When Europe descends into madness time and time again, it's our sons who cross the oceans to fight and die for freedom and human dignity. We don't let evil people destroy our history and rewrite it in their image. This is Independence Day. It's not just a number on the calendar. Don't say Happy 4th. That's commie gobbledygook.
No offense, but it sounds like some fucking commie gobbledygook.
We celebrate Independence Day. Today we celebrate the men who reclaimed a beautiful slice of this earth and claimed it for God, for the values of freedom and rugged independence. Our history is messy. Our history is violent. Fuck yeah, it is. And that's why we love it. We aren't cowards. We don't turn our backs on the painful memories because they make us who we are. Be proud of our country, damn it. America is the birthplace of every great invention of the last 250 years. Like literally everything. Airplanes, spaceships, internet, telephones. As a country, we are batting 1,000. Not only is it a miracle that this radical experiment in self-governance even survived past 1776, but we are the champions of the world. Be proud of that. Be proud of your history. Millions of your ancestors fought and died to preserve it. Commie Mamdani's ancestors never bled for this country. He has no history here, so he has no attachment to our home. He has no place to rewrite our history and lecture us about what our country stands for. So celebrate today. Show some American pride. Honor your history. Raise your flag. Raise a finger and say, fuck you, communists. This is our home and you can't have it. Today we celebrate our Independence Day. God bless America.
Well, damn, I was expecting something snarky and hilarious, but that was actually really fucking good.
Hey, amen.
That was awesome.
I like how the whole thing was behind like his burnt up house on like a plastic table, like in contrast to Mom Donnie sitting behind George Washington's desk to say it. But yeah,
that's pretty cool. So that makes me him talking about Mao getting rid of old things, right? It makes me think of we were talking today about somehow the Goofy movie got brought up. Did you ever watch that?
Yeah, yeah, but
So-
older. I was older when I saw it, and I know a bunch of people have like crazy nostalgia for it from the age that they saw it.
I have crazy nostalgia for it, and it still holds up. I watch it with my kids.
Oh, it's
multiple
it's a good
times.
movie.
It's a good movie, but it's also narratively like perfect. And it was funny because I was talking to the chick at work who told me I was communist for being nice to people, and we brought that movie up, and she was like, "Yeah, we call that the guilt trip movie because Goofy guilt trips Max." And I was like, "You're only paying
Really?
attention." Yeah, I was like, "You're only paying attention to one half of the narrative. You're only paying attention to the shitty things that Goofy does. You're not paying attention to the shitty things that Max does, and you're especially not paying attention to the ultimate resolution of the meeting with the old with the new, because it's like the whole Chekhov's gun thing, right? If there's a gun in the first act, it's not used by the third act, then don't put it in your play." That's the whole Goofy's taking him fishing. He teaches him the perfect cast, and it's ridiculous and stupid. And you're supposed to think it's ridiculous and stupid. He looks dumb when he does it, but the first time he does it, he catches literal Bigfoot, and it's more of a gag than anything. But then by the end of the movie, Goofy's gonna die. He's falling down a waterfall, and Max uses the perfect cast with a fishing pole to help him, and it was the only thing that saved him. And he kind of learns that, oh, my dad does have some shit to teach me. And then Goofy, instead of forcing Max to go on the fishing trip with him, he actually takes him to the concert he wanted to go to. He's like, oh, you know what? My kid's not into all the same things I am. I can impart wisdom on him without forcing him to be exactly like me. It's like the old and young generations are coming together, meeting each other halfway. And it's funny because I sort of juxtapose it against the movie Turning Red, where this family is the guardian of the panda spirit, and the mom can every woman in the family can turn into a panda, and they try to hide it, and they're the guardians of the sacred temple. And they could have done the same thing with it, and it could have been a beautiful story. It could have been the mom learning, you know what, maybe my daughter's a little bit right, and we shouldn't hide the panda spirit. And the daughter being like, you know what, I was right about that, but maybe my mom's right, and the panda spirit is sacred. But instead, at the end of the movie, they turn the sacred panda temple that they were guarding into a gift shop for tourists. Like it's the most retarded ending you can imagine. And it's like where Goofy movie goes, old and young meet in the middle and realize that they both have something of value to add to the other. Instead, it's like old realizes, oh fuck, no, I'm obsolete, and the young's like, yeah, I was right all along.
Yeah. That's one of the things I was kind of noticing. I saw Actual Justice Warrior review season 2 of Avatar on Netflix.
I watched that too. I watched the first episode of Avatar on Netflix, and I was like, well, first off, the series was so perfect. It's really fucking good. It's one of those things that is not at all overrated. Like,
no,
it deserves all of its hype.
Have you watched that, Ryan?
The show? There's
Avatar,
a show
the cartoon. Avatar, the cartoon.
So it's not the Blue People. It was before that. It was a Nickelodeon cartoon, and it's really, really good.
Yeah, it's like 4 seasons, and it's well done, and it's in the before stuff got all stupid. Like right before the tour time. Was it like 2010, 2008, 10?
2005. I'm pretty sure is when the first season came out, but it gets derpy in the next series, and then the movie just came out this month, and
if you remember, like M. Night Shyamalan tried to make a live action of it, and it got panned as one of the worst movies in history, and it was
shitty, but it was shitty for lore reasons, not woke reasons.
And yeah, shitty for lore because he did it bad, and the special effects were horrid. And just the M. Night Shyamalan acting in it was horrid. But now they're messing up the story, and that's kind of why I brought it up, because one of the things Actual Justice Warrior pointed at, and I'll let you keep going on like your complaints about it, because I didn't watch it. I'm not going to watch it, but just like happened with the 1984 thing from Angel Studios, and I could probably think of like 4 or 5 different movies. Yeah, the Animal Farm. It seems like they're going like a little bit away from woke and to a thing of like always make sure take some old piece of work and always make sure the actual enemy was a corporation that didn't exist in the old people.
Yeah, so they did that with Toph because Toph is a great character, and you saw it in the actual Justice Warrior thing. I'm not going to watch the live action series.
Oh,
It's
no,
just
I
like a waste of time. I watched the first episode out of curiosity.
I
and-
would rewatch the original again before I watch that, and I probably will rewatch the
Well,
original.
my kids are interested now. They saw a couple episodes and they want to watch it, so we're definitely going to watch the original cartoon. But like the Toph, her parents, her whole story in the cartoon was that her parents thought she couldn't survive in the world because she was blind, but she used her earthbending as sort of a second sight, and so she escaped. And her parents sent people looking for her because they were worried about her. But of course, in the movie or in the new show, the live action, her parents are like military industrial complex douchebags. They're like a big weapons company that sells to the bad guys and shit like that. It's not. And Uncle Iroh, who is like one of the best fictional characters ever written, is completely different. Zuko,
And that's
who
what
has
they did
my
in
favorite-
Animal Farm. In Animal Farm, they took it away from the farmer was the bad guy, and they put it in that a corporation took it over, and that corporation was the bad guy.
And she
so it
drew
seems like
a
now they're gonna
brother.
like, yeah.
Where is this Animal Farm where they redid Animal Farm?
Oh, Angel Studios.
Andy Serkis, the guy who was Gollum and all that sorts of stuff, he took it and he made it. They said he took it like 14 years, but I haven't watched it yet. But it's a CGI version of Animal Farm. It's supposed to be cutesy for kids, and it's done by Angel Studios, the guys who did like the Tim Ballard stuff and all that stuff. Who like go even Ward Radio gets they still get advertisements for them,
Yeah.
because they actually did that thing about the Mormon kid who stood up to the Nazis. What's that movie? They made that movie too.
Hacksaw Ridge.
Yeah, but they just purchased this up and they didn't think about it hard enough when they purchased it up, because it was like in production for like 14 years. And they
Well, they
purchased it
probably
up
just
and-
thought like Animal Farm, anti-communism, let's go for
Yeah.
it. And maybe their executives are too stupid to realize how on the nose. I can't even call it subversive because it shits on everything. It's so the Animal Farm story is anti-communism, but this
Yeah.
version that they did, there's
Anti-corporation.
there's the communists, and then above it is a capitalist corporate lady who drives a literal Cybertruck pulling the string.
Yeah, it's Elon Musk.
of
It's Elon Musk.
course.
Yeah. But that's my theory now, because we dealt with 10 years of like the race swaps and like the sneaking in some LGBT thing type deal, right? But it seems to me now is take an old IP and somehow twist it that it's actually capitalism that's the bad guy. I think that's kind of the current trend. And that's what they did in the Avatar live action. And I bet you if I went and looked at like 4 or 5 other different IPs coming out right now, they've done that. I swear I thought of another one off the top of my head where they did that. And like talking like an existing IP that's already out there, but they take it and they twist it into being like, it's actually a corporation there and they're the bad guys.
We're having this
Of
talk.
course.
The chat is just
Yeah, I see Starbase and Catholicism is cool, and Risto, which I've actually seen those guys go at it in like a different live stream. You guys should take over the stream one night and have like a live debate about your stuff, because Risto and Starbase are actually better at arguing for their religious angles, and Catholicism is cool, knows all of his Catholicism. And you want to know what? Like if there's any religion that I've never gotten, which is wild because I went to my mission in Mexico, but nobody knows anything about Catholicism in Mexico where everybody's Catholic. But I've never gotten like crazy deep into like I've listened to enough like Jay Dyer and Rules for Renegades, but I've never been like, oh, I'm going to get crazy deep in what these catechisms are in the Vatican II and the Vatican I and
I'm honestly just laughing because I'll catch a comment here and there. I don't know really what they're arguing about, but then I just see Risto comment, I Googled it.
Risto says
Well,
Catholicism lore is deep.
I do know that Mr. Catholic guy is wrong about Jesus speaking Latin.
He
said that?
Latin.
Yeah, he insisted
The
that
Aramaic?
Jesus- Well, I know most scholars, think like Pontius Pilate knew Latin, which is what he was trying to say, where he was speaking Latin, but they don't think it. But Pontius Pilate probably knew about 3 different languages, and in Jerusalem, he probably was not speaking Latin because that's not what those people spoke. And so I'm not sure why he thinks Jesus was speaking Latin with Pontius Pilate.
Forrest says, well, they believe that the wine actually literally turns into the blood of Christ and the cracker into the body, and that's retarded and saying that, that is a.
Yeah, but it's magic, you can't.
Yeah.
It's the do yourself a favor and call it faith thing that Flip always
Right,
says.
that's one of those things where I think that's official, but I don't think many Catholics actually believe that.
They also have one of the things, like, I don't go after them, but the Ward Radio and Jacob and those guys aren't wrong that when Catholics come after the Mormons for having some sort of sins in history, that's rich. That's rich coming from the Catholics.
So was that video you were playing earlier? Was that Cardin saying that the God was once a man is a Mormon myth?
Yeah, that's what we were tripping out on.
I mean, it's still in the Gospel Principles Manual. It's the very last chapter, Exaltation. It says it pretty blatantly.
And it's one of those ones, like, I don't know why they run away from it. Like, just because.
No, it's cool.
That's the thing that I was sitting there confused about, because you guys are trying to say that. What are those arguments in the middle of trying to delineate yourselves from the evangelicals, but also you want to be accepted by the evangelicals at the same time? Like, what's the argument there? Like, why even take that on?
That's the whole reason to separate yourself from it, is because you want to push yourself more towards mainstream Christianity, and then you get mad at them for not accepting you. Just don't stop asking for their acceptance and be like, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to have my own planet. My planet, personally, is going to be a Dragon Ball Z planet where people can fly and make wishes and shit. So, fuck you.
Forrest says, isn't that the exact argument you made on Word Radio? Which one? I don't know which one you're talking about. The Cardin ate it up. Well, I don't remember.
Oh, the argument of... Yeah, no, you've talked about, like, own your weird shit on Word Radio, haven't you?
Yeah, but that's why I said, like, the stay Mormon thing from the beginning. I wish they just would, but I mean, they're not going to.
Cardin will eat up whatever argument that he thinks at the exact moment that he's hearing it is good for him. He doesn't really think about if it contradicts any of the things that he said before or like 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, I mean, I wish they would hold what like made them unique and isn't like that thing's not. Thinking that you're working on becoming a god. I don't see how that thing could be a problem, unless what? I mean, you have people who believe they become God on this earth. You know what I mean? I like that James Lindsay line is like, I can align with anybody who doesn't think that they're God in this life.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure Christians think it's blasphemous, and I get that, but be like, oh, you think it's blasphemous? I don't. Whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that it makes sense, but it was kind of a cool doctrine. But
yeah.
I mean, kind of original. That God was once a man and had to.
I thought that was totally like an original concept, and it makes sense. Like I said, of like, what are we here to do? But an acorn is supposed to become, has a telos to become the bigger and greater thing or something.
Yeah, well, hopefully the Mormons were right,
But getting back to like the Platonism and all that sorts of stuff, like I don't know that it's like crazy different that like that the people who believe that it's more of a thing that you're going to become one with that God is that different? Like, how is that different if it's this concept of becoming oneness with the God?
Jacob told you that Jesus suffering and dying for our sins is evil? But I guess I'd have to hear some elaboration on that. That's so weird.
What? Yeah, what is that one?
I'm like coming from the Hitchens angle of like that's like I don't know.
Or using a scapegoat or like pawning off your sins onto somebody else instead of paying for them yourself type stuff. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what the end goal with all that sorts of stuff is. So, but, I mean, I think I would get the end goal if it was to delineate. Like if that's just the idea, like we are this, you are that, and let's see who's right. But when it's to both align with and fight with, and then get mad when they don't accept them, type stuff. I mean, it gets confusing to me of the angle there. But
I don't know.
Oh, he's saying, yeah, he's just saying that it wasn't the penal substitution. It wasn't the scapegoat. You're right. It was, yeah, because that was like a Cleon Skousen thing. It wasn't a Cleon Skousen's whole thing was that it was to satisfy the intelligences so that they wouldn't devour everyone when they got into the presence of God. Like, okay, you know what? You're willing to suffer this much to vouch for him. We won't slaughter anybody that enters God's presence. Which makes God seem like he's a popularity contest, but you know, that's another story. Whatever.
I don't know. Anyway, it's about getting that time. I got to go walk my dog, but I feel like I'm going to cut off a very big debate going on over there between Starbase and Restal Starbase and
yeah.
Forest Haven too. You guys take over the channel for a night and have like a big debate of an atheist versus a Catholic versus a Restal. What is it? Just general Protestant, you call it? I don't know what Starbase currently is. Starbase is an ex-Mormon who still believes in Mormonism. An ex-Mormon whose Mormonism is Mormon's the best choice.
Catholic Goofus over here can join the Latter-day Longhouse.
Forrest doesn't want to debate all of that. Man. Catholic Goofus would probably spurg out and post a little bit too much over
there. You go spurg out, post a little bit too much. You might be the first person we actually boot from the fucking group because you're obnoxious.
I would only ever boot somebody for overly spurged. You know?
Yeah.
It's like, that's just too many posts. But Catholicism is cool. You convinced me. Where do I convert? Like, where do I go convert to this Catholicism that you've enticed me to? It just,
dude, I've already planned on the whole deathbed thing. I'll accept Jesus as my Lord and Savior when I think I'm close to dying.
Yeah, but that's an evangelical thing. That's not a Catholic thing, though.
They aren't trying to convert us, or the deathbed thing. But Catholics are trying to convert people, right? I mean, that's what Catholicism cool claims he does. Although, if he is that guy, you said he might be a troll, doing.
Yeah,
I don't know. He might be. I don't know. The way he's talking, he just sounds like.
Well, I think he said that because he's really fucking bad at converting people.
No, I'm converted now.
Well, he converted Chris, but Chris is a fucking masochist, I guess.
Yeah, that's what like. How do I go to? What do I do? Go to catechism and eat the wafer? You want to know? I went to the Catholic church for almost a year with my ex-girlfriend. And boy, howdy, like 3-hour Mormon church was boring, but listening to the same thing every single week got boring, even though it was just an hour. Even though it was just an hour, I'd start sneaking my earphones in so I could listen to something else.
You need to be bored sometimes.
And then they'd do the homily where like the priest up there like got like a couple minutes, and each time they do some sort of shit on climate change or something like that.
Really?
Yes. Yes. Like, oh man, everywhere you go. That was at the Cathedral of the Madeleine in downtown Salt Lake. Go to it and tell me they aren't doing that like all the time. They have like a 2-minute homily where they can say something different every week. And climate change, okay, dude. Like, convert me on into your.
I'm gonna say something really crazy.
Yeah. But I mean, I guess they had a chance to get me and they didn't get me, but no, they didn't really. So anyway, I gotta walk a doggy. Thanks for chilling, Ryan. You should pop on more often whenever you want. If you want to talk slop game. My name, Gendy Primal. We're always talking slop and terrible things. If you want to watch awesome, go watch Gendy's Primal. The 3rd season, which I think finalizes it, is finally out and over. And if you ever wanted to watch a pro-family, pro-natal, kick-ass, awesome show that also will rip your guts out and has some of the wildest animation of fighting and all that sorts of stuff you'll ever see.
Dude, Primal. So I started it as it was coming out. I think I only got like 5 episodes in, but I need to get back in because it was really good.
Also, the most pronatal show you'll ever watch. I mean, the whole last 3rd season is about protecting a pregnant woman, and you know, it's pretty amazing.
Fuck yeah, pronatalism.
It's a cartoon called Primal.
Yeah. So
Called
did you ever see?
Primal.
Did you ever see Samurai Jack? Maybe not.
I never saw. I know what it is.
Oh, it's the same guy that does that one, same animation style. He did
Oh,
the
okay.
he did the like cartoon animated Star Wars Clone Wars as well.
There's no dialogue in it at all.
He's a caveman. He can't speak.
3 seasons long.
Oh.
I had my friend, my bassist in my band. I told him to go watch it. And after he came back and said the band's like, you made me go watch something that's like watching Bambi, but like 10 times over. You know, that's what he.
Oh yeah,
It's like I was crying at it every single episode. You know?
That's fucking good.
Yeah, it's wild, it's awesome stuff, and it's all wrapped up. And actually, after season 2, I was like, I don't know if I like that. When I thought it was over, and we didn't know it wasn't over. And
Starbase is asking if Primal is on Amazon Prime.
Primal is on the HBO. Yep, HBO Max is where it's at.
Sweet.
Check it out. Gendy Tartakovsky.
All right.
Awesome
Well,
show.
glad you
Thanks for
popped on,
tuning in. And
Ryan.
I'm gonna watch Masters of the Universe. And I'm gonna pay money
Yes.
for it too. I'm gonna get money into the coffers. So
All right. Well, we
All
see you
right.
guys later.
Hey,
all right,
man.
that's it, man. See you later, everybody.
We'll see you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.